So I find my spot, I folded it over. Okay. Madam Clerk, if you would, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by forwarding a copy to the Courier News, Star Ledger, and posting on the Township website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting, all in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mrs. Illes? Here. Mr. Machado?
Here.
Mr. Maderos?
Here.
Mr. Moran?
Here.
Mrs. Polk? Here. Mayor Devaney?
She sends her regards. Can we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we had a Eagle Scout conference session, but that's been moved and postponed, so I would look to you want to make motion to go in?
Yeah, we're gonna make a motion to go into executive session.
Okay, we have a go into executive session for a discussion with the police department. So I have to read this. Whereas the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1 et sec expressly provide that a public body may move into executive session and exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the public body discusses any of the 9 set areas set forth in NJSA 10:4-12B. And page 2, whereas the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights has determined it necessary to move into executive session to discuss the following subject, which include the aforesaid exceptions of contract negotiations with police department. Now therefore,
This is personal.
personnel, I'm sorry, my mistake, I read it off here, my mistake. Okay, now therefore be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights that it does hereby move into executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B to discuss the aforesaid matters, and is further resolved that the aforesaid discussions shall be made public after either at a public meeting following said executive session, or at such time as any litigated or personnel matters are concluded, or upon conclusion of any negotiations or related discussions, or as otherwise specified. And is further resolved, that this resolution will take effect pursuant to law. Okay, second. Okay, a second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illes?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Polk?
Yes.
Okay, we shall return, in some minutes, and yeah.
Can this get moved to the end of the regular session? You get it back?
This is.
There's actually
This
2
is a
on there.
new one.
If you look at the agenda, there's 2 executive sessions on there. One was moved to the beginning, one was moved to the end, and we'll just kind of.
This is a new one.
Okay. We're back in the executive session. Appreciate everyone's time. All right. Okay, Marty, do you want to put us back? We have to call ourselves back in, or we just pick it up where we left off?
Yep.
Pick it up where we left off. Margaret, you're on the clock. Let's go.
Before Margaret goes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Make a motion about ordinance number 2026-14. I'd like to move that we table that.
I second that.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the stop sign ordinance.
Thank you for clarifying that. All right.
All right, discussion.
I just want to make just a short statement. As a member of council and the Complete and Green Streets Committee, I take road safety very seriously. However, there were some issues brought up regarding the stop sign, which is included in this ordinance. So I support Alvaro's motion to table it until those issues are addressed.
Yeah, I was going to add that we did have a lot of input from Steve Corellis, who provided information to the council after our last meeting. After reviewing that, I suggest that we at least have Negley address the concerns that he raised before we vote on adoption.
And just to piggyback on that, the request did come from a resident in that area. And so I looked a little bit at the history. John and I were over at the spot today taking a look. So it's important that we make sure we get it right.
Need a vote?
Anybody else? Call please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
Okay, I move to open the public hearing on ordinances being considered for final adoption.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
All right, comments on ordinances up for final adoption are welcome during the public hearing. There will be one public hearing for all ordinances listed. Before making any comment, these speakers must identify their name and address for record. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. I appreciate your time.
Tom Machewski, 40 Route Place. Is the mayor absent again?
I have no idea.
You don't know if she's here? You don't know if she's
Is
absent?
that, we're talking about adoption of ordinances. Does that have anything to do with that? Then you can bring it up at the regular conference session, the regular comment period.
I'm Foraker, 14 Dorset Road. I want to address the ordinance to ban the data centers. The question of a townwide ban on data centers has to be considered from all aspects. This ordinance only considers the environmental aspects and none of the benefits that such a use would provide. As such, it's not ready for final adoption. One benefit is that it could provide a substantial rateable, and that in light of future costs for the sewer plant, that should not be ignored. The Kenilworth facility by CoreWeave is estimated to add $9.7 million in annual property tax revenue and operate and provide 143 high-paying jobs. Another benefit is that instead of a residential housing use, the data centers would not increase school costs. The Kenilworth Center will add $150 million in electrical substation for the data center and the local grid. Next, I want to discuss the serious deficits in this proposed ordinance. From your 15 whereas clauses, especially number 11, I see that the basis of the ban is some environmental concerns. There's no mention of any benefits of having a data center. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority provides tax credits for such a center. So it's hard to believe that there are no benefits and that that's all detrimental. Clause 11 says that protection of ecological values is a proper exercise of municipal authority. The term ecological values, though, is not explained or defined. If we go to the literature for environment stuff, we find the ecological value term has been spread in the literature since 1860. However, there is no consensus on its definition and the criteria for its assessment. Clause 12 states that construction of data centers often results in the cutting and removal of trees. However, there's no supporting evidence for that claim, even by reference. And even if that were true, it would not justify a townwide ban on such centers. Why? Two reasons. First, there might be a site where no trees would have to be removed. Second, the applicant could simply agree not to remove any trees. We already have a tree ordinance that controls removal of trees and provides for payments of replacement trees fees. Why is that not sufficient protection? Clause 13 claims pollution of potable drinking water and increased electrical costs. And there's no evidence cited that data centers lead to pollution of drinking water. With over 4,880 data centers nationwide, that seems to be a bit far-fetched to me. Will electrical costs increase? First, that would not constitute an environmental problem. If an increase in electrical rates leads to lower usage and switching to solar power, it might be beneficial for the environment. However, a local ban in Berkeley Heights would have no effect on electrical rates at all. The center would just have to be built somewhere else. So if such a center causes an increase, it will still happen. Finally, there are no claims made about the effects on the health of residents and visitors. Clause 14 refers to the Township Committee. We no longer have such a committee, having replaced it with a Township Council over 20 years ago. Did anyone in charge read this ordinance? In summary, we have a collection of unsupported reasons for this ordinance and no consideration of simple restrictions that would still allow data centers while still protecting the environment. Now, based on paragraph H of the existing ordinance, if something is not already permitted, then it is allowed. It is not allowed. So you really don't even need this prohibition. Could it be that it's offered for political reasons? I urge that the ordinance not be approved, and then instead you meet with the people that build such centers and learn more about them. You may find that your fears are unwarranted and that such a center has a net positive benefit for the town. Thank you.
Hi, Tom Chesky, 40 Route Place. Good evening. I oppose ordinance 2026-13, not because I'm asking you to approve a data center, but because the permanent townwide ban based on rumblings is poor government and creates avoidable legal and financial risks. On June 9th, the council presentation described only rumblings of interest in data center at Nokia. On June 30, the ban was introduced. Tonight, only 42 days after that presentation, the council is being asked to prohibit every third-party data center in every zone before the public has seen a formal application site, or a formal application site plan, term sheet, tax analysis, utility study, or proposed safeguards. The ordinance cites impacts of large-scale centers and says some can use 300 megawatts, but its operative language bans every facility, regardless of size, power demand, water use, cooling method, noise, emissions, location, or enforceable conditions. That is not careful planning. It applies worst-case examples to every possible proposal. The text also twice says the Township Committee made these findings, even though Berkeley Heights has a mayor and council. Well, I guess just council at this point. That makes this look template-driven, not based on a Berkeley Heights specific analysis. My first question is the legal fork the council should answer clearly. Is the township official position that the principal use data center were already prohibited because uses not specifically permitted are prohibited? Yeah.
You're
me repeat it?
gonna think we do the format of asking.
Well, this one is a yes or no, and then I have a follow-up depending on what the answer is. So if you could just answer yes or no, it would be
Other
interesting.
questions, because do you have other questions?
I do.
Then if you could ask all of the questions and if we.
But it depends on how you answer this one.
Mm,
Did we do it?
So can I take that as you don't know?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. Is the township's official position that principal use data centers were already prohibited because uses not specifically permitted are prohibited?
Our position is that they may be permitted. It is not, it is unclear because of how the definitions, land use definitions work for whether it's consists of commercial, light industrial, or heavy industrial use of what category a data center falls into. So it is unclear based on the current zoning ordinance as to whether data centers would be banned or not, and therefore this ordinance was to clarify.
Okay, can I take that as a no then? A no on a yes or no?
No, I don't think it's either one of the, I reject the premise of the question, so.
Okay.
Either.
Were the individual property owner notices applicable to zoning classification change sent? And if so, on what date? And are the proofs of service on file?
Question.
Did you ask these questions at the planning board meeting?
I wasn't able to attend that one, sorry.
Okay, so
This is a council decision, right? You're making the decision tonight?
I'm not a planning attorney.
Yeah, I mean,
We
to
are
answer that
making
question.
a decision on the land use ordinance that's being presented.
Okay.
Been reviewed by our planner.
So you're not sure if the individual property owner notices applicable to zoning classification changes were sent or not? Is
No,
that
by
what I hear you
individual,
saying?
by individual, you mean Nokia? Or?
Well, you're applying, are you applying this only to Nokia or are you applying it to the
We
entire
did not
town?
Send, to the best of my knowledge, we did not send communication to every property owner in Berkeley Heights to say that data centers will not be permitted. This is a public forum. Our code is available to the public, and anybody who wants to build in Berkeley Heights needs to go according to the ordinance land use code.
Okay, you do realize that that's a regulation when you're making zoning level changes.
It doesn't, I don't want to get into a legal back and forth here. It's our position that does not apply, and we were not required to send out those notices.
Okay, it is going to open you up for potential lawsuits here. I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna go on to the second question, so I can try to speed this up a little bit. What exactly were the rumblings? I guess this is more for Susan Pogue. You mentioned rumblings. Who contacted the township? When, and was there any written proposal, zoning inquiry, concept plan, tax estimate, or financial offer? Is the ordinance related in any way to the, is this ordinance related in any way to the 600 Mountain Avenue negotiations listed on tonight's agenda?
600 Mountain Avenue, the property by the Westminster Church.
Mhm. With what, 600 Mountain, no, you have 600 Mountain Avenue negotiations listed on tonight's
Oh, I'm
agenda.
sorry, Nokia.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
And you wanna know what the rumblings are?
Huh?
This is the rumblings. JCP&L, New Jersey American Water, you hear nothing from them about any of this, about your power grid, about your water consumption, nothing. You want rumblings? Check with them first and see what they're gonna be getting out of all of this, okay? And how Berkeley Heights or any other town will be on the hook for anything that comes
Well,
down.
this is specifically to Susan, because she mentioned that she started this, kicked this thing off, and I assume that she's the one that kicked this entire process
So just
off.
like you, Tom, I look at the forum and I saw it on the New Providence forum.
So you saw it on a New Providence.
Yeah, and then I started asking some questions and I started researching and then I did hear about revenue. So I'm like, oh, revenue, I'm gonna look into that. So I just started doing research. It came very organically. And when I presented to the council, if you really want to know, we were all kind of horrified that it wasn't worth, the benefits were not worth the cost, is what we all decided in small groups. And then we talked about it at the introduction or the conference session and the introduction. And so that's where it came from. We're really trying to be proactive to protect the health and welfare of our residents. That is the primary reason that this ordinance is coming to.
But without seeing any kind of, so if you have one computer in a data center, that's banned.
So I didn't think it'd be unrealistic right now, so I'm not gonna go into this back and forth with you.
Okay. I identified the Berkeley Heights specific studies comparing this blanket ban with regulation through size limits, power and water caps, noise controls, generator standards, setbacks, infrastructure upgrades, and negotiated community or tax benefits. Has any of that been
Can I
done?
ask you a quick question? I'm just curious, what area of our town do you think would be suitable? I'm just curious for a data center.
I'm not suggesting, again. I would
You're
like
asking
to
me
see-
hypothetical, so I'm asking you a question, that's all.
Well, that's not, I'm asking you because you're banning it for the entire town.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, let's not ban it for the entire town. If you have an actual thing, let's discuss it then. But a blanket ban seems absurd, especially when you don't know
thank you for your
anything,
feedback.
anything about the noise.
Thank you for
anything.
your feedback. I do know, but thank you for your feedback.
How would you know?
Right, help us out.
You're not gonna answer?
No, I'm not.
You may be surrendering the town's bargaining power before hearing any deal. You're also asking taxpayers to assume the cost of defending a zoning ordinance whose notice, factual record, and breadth may be challenged. Please table the ordinance, get the facts, publish the studies, answer the notice question, hear any real proposal, negotiate protections, and then decide. A vote based on rumor and rumblings and a template is not prudence, it is avoidable risk.
It's based on research, not rumblings and rumor. That's how I started my research, were rumblings, not rumor, just rumblings. Just so I just want to be clear with you.
What's the difference between the rumors and a rumbling? You brought it up. I'm just saying, I just like to know what you're considering a difference between a rumor and a rumbling.
Margaret's telling me to take a deep breath and stop. So I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to stop.
So you don't have an answer. Okay, thank you.
Adam Horowitz, 79 Cromwell Court. The past two town council meetings I've spoken, the first one about the environmental and health risks associated with AI data centers. The last town council meeting about the long track record of AI data centers not complying with water usage, air pollution, electric usage regulations, and forcing townships to spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on lawsuits to seek injunctions against them. Tonight, and I think a lot of the concerns that have been raised about those issues were brought up in the prior meetings. Tonight, I'd like to talk about AI data centers' effects on our electrical grid and electrical supply. Just this past week, PJM, who manages our grid, connects the electrical supply to JCP&L, announced that they were 6.8 gigawatts short of the reliability target needed to ensure no rolling blackouts during adverse weather events such as the heat dome we just suffered. 6.8 gigawatts, for reference, is enough power for 5 to 6 million homes, averaging about 1,800 square feet. I do not think that the town should be contributing to that shortfall, where PJM has had a long track record of supply issues, especially when our town has a long history of rolling blackouts. Especially, obviously trees falling down. That's not what we're talking about here, but I've heard many people complain previously about blackouts where no clear explanation. Now, I heard people rumbling online that we should compare the usage of an AI data center versus the electrical usage of other use for the Nokia property or elsewhere in town. So I did some research, and each square foot of server space in an AI data center uses 50 to 100% of the electricity of an 1,800 square foot single family home. There is no feasible way in Berkeley Heights that we could build anything that could compete with that type of electrical usage other than AI data center. Just on the amount of square foot's available to build housing, industrial use, corporate use, laboratory space, it's just not coming close to the electrical usage per square foot that an AI data center built in the same area would do. Now, I also want to talk about the strain on the electrical grid brought by an AI data center. It's a very popular talking point by leftists and socialists online, actually, saying we should embrace AI data centers and make them pay to upgrade our grid. First of all, those grid upgrades don't address the supply issue of PJM being 6.8 gigawatts short. Some AI data centers are offering to build nuclear power plants. That would eventually resolve the grid supply issue, but building a nuclear power plant takes a decade or more. And we still have to find, where are we building a nuclear plant? Hopefully not in this town. And getting that electricity from the plant once it's finally opened to Berkeley Heights. In the meanwhile, so really an AI data center upgrading the grid would look like substation improvements, which most people think, okay, we're talking about upgrading the substations already there and the transformers. Again, though, doesn't help with supply during heat domes. We might see blackouts when it's 100 degrees and all our ACs are straining it. But also, these grid improvements are not limited to just improving the technology in our existing grid infrastructure. There are thousands of data centers around the country, including states nearby like Pennsylvania or Georgia. It's been in the news a lot recently, so that's why I'm saying those two states, where the electrical companies have had to use eminent domain to take away people's homes to build high tension wires to get the increased electrical supply needed for these AI data centers to them. So we're not just talking about improving the substation that this data center connects to. There is a real risk that an AI data center would require new high tension wires to be built in town. People would lose their homes due to eminent domain. People who live next to those high tension wires would have their property values hurt. And also, I think usually when you buy a house not next to a high tension wire, you're not going to be happy when high tension wires get built right next to your house. Overall, the risks to our grid from building an AI data center way outweigh any potential benefits we get from infrastructure improvements in at least the immediate term. And I want to address the fact that this is an ordinance ban, banning AI data centers, and people are acting like this is premature. At the end of the day, the town council, once we have more information, and if our PJM makes up that shortfall and brings new plants online, can always amend the ordinance to allow an AI data center. But by banning it now, it ensures that a developer doesn't start building and either then have a standing to sue. If we, say they announce a plan that they're building it, they buy the property wherever in town, and then we're like, oh, we don't want that, let's ban it or change the zoning. They now suddenly have zoning, might have standing to sue. It also avoids the issue of a data center that on paper complies being built, and then us having to sue them when in actuality they're not complying with our water regulations, our air regulations, or any other problems. And again, if the grid gets improved on the supply side to ensure that this isn't going to be straining and causing prices to go up, we can change the ordinance. It's very similar to New Jersey's cannabis law. I know Berkeley Heights opted out of cannabis, which I think was the right decision for this town. And that ordinance was towns had the opportunity to ban dispensaries in their town and other cannabis businesses. There's nothing in doing that that prevents Berkeley Heights or any other town from opting out to change their mind and change the ordinance. But in Berkeley Heights passing that ordinance banning cannabis operations in town, it ensured no one bought property and tried to do it. And I think that is the reason why this ordinance is necessary. It is proactively ensuring we do not have to fight a lengthy battle over the air quality in our town, the electrical grid, against entities that are well more funded than Berkeley Heights. We already have people complain about the town budget all the time. We can't go up against someone like Meta or SpaceX if they tried to build something and sued us, or we had to sue them because they violated our regulation. I just want to leave off again that I said at the first town council meeting on this, that I think we have a duty to ensure we leave our town better for our kids than when we came here. I do not think a giant AI data center in town benefits the future generations of Berkeley Heights, in that there's plenty of studies on air quality, ground level ozone that affects the most vulnerable of our town, children, elderly, those with asthma and other lung issues. It increases the likelihood, at least in the near term, of more rolling blackouts in town. Increases the likelihood we're going to have more high tension wires built in town. And it increases the likelihood that our town's deficit will get even worse when we have to go into a lawsuit against an AI data center. The responsible thing to ensure our town stays safe for our children, both environmentally, health-wise, fiscally, and protecting our grid so we don't have rolling blackouts, is to, at least for now, ban these AI data centers. And once we have more information, state regulations, improved grids, we could then revisit the issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good. Back on the clock.
David Senkel, 75 Grandview Ave. So I spoke about this at the last meeting, and as I mentioned before, I work at a company that's in the AI space. I know a lot about this. Some of it I wish I didn't know. But I will say that everything in this space is moving way too fast. I think that the impact on people isn't really known at this point. I lack the confidence that some folks have about what the impact will be. I'm very confident that we do not know what the impact is going to be and what, especially at the scale that things are happening. But the early signs that we are seeing is that there is cause for pause and taking stock and taking a look at this before we just let it explode everywhere. Some places aren't doing that, and let them find out what happens first, okay? I do appreciate the comments that other people made. I do think there are some flaws in this ordinance as stated. I don't think any of them are like fatal flaws. So it doesn't seem like there's anything in there that's like really concerning. I think as the previous person came up and said, we can do something now and we can come up with fully thought through regulation, what that should look like at a later point once we have more information. Right now, I do not think we have enough information. Thank you.
I like your phrasing, cause for
Pause
pause.
for pause, yeah.
Scott, we can, there's been mention of this, the fact that we have Township Committee on here. It's typographical error, right?
That's just a typo, yes.
Did anybody even read through it?
Yeah, we went through it.
Okay. Nobody caught that?
We haven't heard from everybody first, so we normally don't let people come up a second time unless there's something substantive.
I do have.
Go ahead.
I'll be quick. I don't have, yeah. Hi, I'm Danielle Bennett. I live on 91 Bolton Boulevard. I spoke I think when we first started talking about this, I came to the meeting because it's really important to me. And I think it would be very beneficial if Berkeley Heights tries to stay out of the business of data centers. As someone, probably even more as someone who also has to use AI every day in my job, I'm very scared about the rate at which people have been asked to embrace and adopt it. And I think that if we support this ordinance, we can protect our town and our children from unknowns. And I don't understand the arguments for wanting a data center, I guess like tax dollars or like making sure people like don't build affordable housing or something like that. But I just think that the better thing, get ahead of it, put the ban in place. And if I understand correctly, it could be amended in the future if it does turn out that there is no reason to be nervous about a data center or something like that. I think it's great to look for research and look for evidence, but this is something very new, moving very quickly. Nobody really knows how bad it could possibly be. And maybe it's not as bad as we think, and that's great. But then we can address that in the future. So I think it's good to get ahead of it and just avoid for the time being. Thank you.
At Kingsley, 9 Deer Path. I think the speed at this introduction, now approval of this resolution is too fast. I think it's somewhat fashionable. I think it's somewhat virtue signaling, and it's subjective rather than totally objective. If we build massive housing up on Nokia, traffic is going to be horrible. Impact on the schools will be bad. And I still think there could be a financial benefit to the town. And you're ignoring all of that today. I mean, jamming more people. Try to imagine getting your kids to school on Mountain Avenue with 1,500 units, What is the traffic gonna be like going down Diamond Hill? You can't defend it. It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be awful. And I really think you need to consider, there might be other uses, but this ban is totally premature. And again, I believe it's subjective and not objective. Thank you.
Hi, Roberta Kubek, 49 Hampton Drive. I support the ban on data centers in town. And the reason I support it and the reason I support it now is that we can talk about this in theoretical terms. We can claim there are more studies needed. We can say that if we ban a data center in town, then we're banning it all over town, regardless of size and environmental impact, and it's too soon. But it ignores the proverbial elephant in the room, which is the Nokia property. And I think it would be disingenuous to suggest that this is not about the Nokia property. Now, if we end up with an AI data center on that Nokia property, it's not going to be small. The environmental impact, the quality of life impact on the residents in that area is going to be very serious to catastrophic. And as a couple of speakers have already mentioned, one in particular, we don't really know the long-term impacts that a data center has on the people who live near it. So I think I agree with the people who say that we need to pause. We need to make sure that we don't end up with a developer on that space suing us for the right to build a data center there. And that's why we need that ban right now. And as Adam and other speakers have said, we can always reverse that decision later. But if we don't ban the data centers right now, we could end up with something on that property that we're stuck with forever. And that's why I support it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Done more people coming.
Hi, my name is Sherry Park and I live at 10 Arden Court, and I am supportive of banning the data centers as well. For those of you who are not familiar with how data centers operate, I used to work in computer operations 8 hours a day. A room of about this size is kept very cold 24/7. So think about the strain that size of a facility will have on those people around that area. It's noisy, it's cold, and it's going to be disruptive to the environment. So just want to give you guys context that that's a type of environment that data center will need to support in order to operate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sai Bharkali Akibi. So I've read the ordinance, the amended one. I want to be curious, and I want to see, based on what you have presented, Mrs. Polk, do you have an impact analysis comparison of what does overdevelopment cause versus data centers? So we are hearing a lot of people say there is going to be more increased demand on water, energy, but we are living it right now. What is happening with the increased affordable housing plus luxury rentals? I don't know what percentage of them are actually occupied. So without doing an impact analysis comparison between what will happen with what many speakers have said at Nokia versus it's over 200 acres, right? If I'm not mistaken, the property at Nokia.
270,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, 260, yeah. So by prematurely banning, like not saying that the total acreage is going to be a data center. And if I'm not mistaken, when I first moved here, I think somebody gave me a tour of Nokia. They have their own water filtration system. They have this historic buildings. And I know you guys changed, you approved the zoning to have more high-rise construction there than what was previously allowed in Berkeley Heights. So everybody in this room and whoever is prospective buyers coming into town, we all have to minimum add 15 to 20 minutes to our daily commute. And I used to be on the rescue squad. Like, I don't know what is going to happen to the SLAs from an emergency perspective or from a police department. if everything there is mixed use and condos from a traffic and impact on schools, impact on our sewer plant, our.
It's about the data center ban though, not about affordable housing.
Yeah, I know, it's about, so it's about data center ban. So I'm asking you, you presented the data on, okay, data centers are bad, and this is the data that I have from peer-reviewed studies. But where is the comparison to the stuff that you have voted on, that we are currently living with? Like for Toll Brothers, you've, like,
Well,
so what is the?
I need to interject for a second.
Yeah.
What we're living with now is currently state mandated. So what we're living with now is what we have to do. We don't have to put a data center anywhere in this town, okay?
So if you ban data
The state does
centers,
not say you have to come in and put a data center in. The
Data-
state comes in and says you need to have so many units of affordable housing. So we are state mandated by that. We're not state mandated by putting a data center in. And again, I go back to my point, and I definitely thank Adam for his information about the 6.8 gigawatts, okay? JCP&L, New Jersey American Water are silent. The silence is deafening on this. There is nothing from them. So we're supposed to step up and go, knock yourself out, put a data center in, okay? And I see Mr. LeBlanc in the audience, and I've seen his emails, and I can tell you right now, his power is going out, gonna be every day. I don't want that to happen. I don't want my power to go out. I don't want anybody's power to go out in this town. But when you have JCP&L and you have New Jersey American Water not doing anything, not saying anything, not stepping up to the plate on this, they are silent, okay? We're supposed to say, that's a great idea. Let's go for that.
no, but respectfully, Mr. Foster, the state has not, so there have been times in this town where the elected representatives on the ballot, the people of New Jersey voted to have, legalize marijuana and have retail centers. The town council here said, we're not going to have retail marijuana centers in Berkeley Heights, but guess what? There is a tiny loophole in the fine print. You can get it delivered in town. So we have all these retail marijuana centers. So all I'm asking is, I'm not for or against data centers, but I'm saying the wording, you have not shown us any comparable data on what does, by banning data centers and only allowing high density housing does to the town, to our infrastructure.
This or that.
Yes.
It's not this or that.
Never said that, Si. What this ordinance is about is changing the land use to say that data centers are not a permitted use. The same way that other types of businesses that you can see in the packet are not permitted uses. That has nothing to do with housing, which is a permitted use. So there could be another plot of land by the Passaic River that somebody decides, I'm gonna buy these lots and I'm gonna put a data center there. We don't control that except through zoning. So what we've said in this ordinance is changing the land use law. They can always ask for a variance to the zoning through the planning board and board of adjustment.
So
That happens today.
So basically you're saying in future, if somebody wants to come and open a data center, but this ban will not allow it. So I'm saying, why don't you keep it open for negotiation to say, hey, you're not going to impact the water usage, or you're not going to impact the current.
We on council do what we feel is best for the town. After hearing, reading, researching, talking to our planner, we are introducing or passing an ordinance that says that this is not a permitted use in the town. If we were out in Sussex County and there was a ton of land that didn't have houses around it, if I sat on that community board, I might have a different opinion. But Berkeley Heights is very tightly populated, and this is not a desirable thing to put next to residential homes. There is no place in Berkeley Heights that isn't next to residential homes.
Okay,
Tell me where.
Well, you just said Passaic Park, right? There is a lot of.
No, then the Washington Avenue people live there, right? It doesn't mean that somebody can't define that land and say, we want to do this thing because it's unclear in the land use law that this is not permitted.
Okay,
So now they have to come to us and specifically ask for permission. That's what this does, is it says it's not a permitted use. And therefore, if somebody wants it, they have to come back to the township and make a case for why this is a good thing.
Right now, we control the narrative.
Study all of those numbers that you all are looking for. If anybody wants to build a data center, they need to come to us and prove it's not going to harm our residents through, the noise. It's not going to take down Mike LeBon's power. It's not going to.
Oh, I'm on the same line, by the way. So every time he loses power, I lose power.
So that's what we're doing, is we're protecting our township.
So may I have a request? So very similar to what you have done on looking at peer reviewed data and coming up with what the negative impact of this data centers is. We are all living what is happening with high density housing. And I know we are mandated, but can we see from you as our elected representatives, some sort of a data on what is this high density housing doing to our township? Like what's the impact to our environment, to our infrastructure, to our sewage plant? If you're looking at something like a data center and saying, okay, this is bad, and we are going to be very proactive about it.
That is a discussion for another time. And if you would like to talk to me or any other council member about that and ask those questions, we are more than willing to have that conversation with you. This is public comments regarding.
I understand. So my simple ask is this: we have seen all the negative impact of data centers, and that is the reason, or that's the business case for this ordinance. Where is the comparison of this with everything else that's your?
It's apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. You can't compare the two. Again, I'll go back to, we're state mandated for affordable housing. So any infrastructure, any density, anything like that is state mandated. We're not state mandated to put up a data center.
The state is
Apples and
mandating,
oranges.
the state is mandating us to increase the zoning and like propose for Nokia, increase the height of the buildings. I've never seen that.
There's no increase of any height of any buildings. That's, I don't even know where you're getting that from.
Yeah.
But there is no increase in any heights of any buildings.
We live here
But-
too. I mean, we
There
live
is-
here too.
That's apples and oranges, okay? We are state mandated, we're not state mandated to put up a data center. That's it, that's the bottom line.
So maybe because they didn't mandate it, maybe that means that it is open, they don't have enough data, right?
Well, it might be open, but
Got it.
it's,
We have to be
Yeah.
done with this.
Good evening, Natasha Jolly, 60 Orion Road, Berkeley Heights. I'm not going to talk about the data centers. I did have a question around the ordinance for the 135,000 for road capital improvements, very specific amount. What roads, what improvements, and is that money going to be used for the Sherman Avenue project? And my other question that I didn't see on the agenda is if there's a second public hearing, comment section for all topics.
yeah.
I just not, I don't, when is it coming in the agenda?
Citizens hearing, it's gonna be after the,
The ordinance is usually. Yeah.
there's 17 ordinance.
Yeah.
Right, immediately after that.
After what, I'm sorry?
Look at
Right
page
after the-
3.
It's right before the new business. It's always after the adoption of any
Okay,
ordinance.
so after new business,
Yes.
No, right.
before new business.
Yes, it's always after the adoption of ordinances. This is the public hearing for the adoption of ordinances, which is required by law.
Okay, thank you. So
Your first question can be answered by.
Yes, so that money's not being used for Sherman Ave. That's being paid for all with grant money. That is I believe that was, older money that we are repurposing, like old capital money, scraps of capital money left over from projects that we haven't used that we're putting together to repurpose for general roads. I believe sidewalk improvements, drainage.
right, but sorry?
It was generalized in the ordinance, so you probably want to know what's specific.
Right, what's specific, it's, sizable amount of money, so what is it like specifically going towards? I mean, it's general, it's a little vague for that amount of money.
Right, because there is a bunch of smaller projects that we need to do throughout the town. And if you make it too specific, then you can only use it for one road. So we might not need that 135,000 for, say, your street. We may also need it to do multiple projects throughout the town. We're not ready to announce roads yet because we have sort of like a priority list of the worst ones that need to be done. We have to figure out how much it would cost to pave those roads, which our engineer does. Using some formula that only he knows how to do. And then we figure out how far that money can go to pave those roads, what we might have left over for smaller drainage or pothole projects or sidewalk.
Okay, thank you.
Gary Barter, 550 Plainfield Avenue. I think I agree with the data center issue, although it really needs to be finely designed because my 12 attorneys that I brought with me here, and I'm going to process information, an information processing center. It's not a data center. Something like that's going to happen. So we have to be prepared for how our attorneys argue. I came back from vacation from the 3rd, and I have 2 appliances I need to replace. So it was obvious I was only out of service for 1 day, but there must have been brownouts because,
Depends on where you were in town.
yeah, but there must have been because, like I said, I have 2 appliances I need to replace. Not the end of the world, but it happens. I do have a question not related to that, though.
Just about the ordinance is up for final adoption.
Ordinance.
Data center, the capital funds.
We pulled the stop sign one, so that's out.
We're not doing the,
But there is another public comments section where you can bring up
Okay.
your other question.
It's after this one, right?
Yeah.
It's the next one.
Yes, excellent.
The next public comment session for you. I know what you want.
Once we get past this, then it comes.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll never get past this little thing, but like I say,
Okay.
I'm for it, but we've got to be careful.
All right, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Good point. Okay.
Anybody else?
What?
Okay.
Hi, Glenn Roeder, 95 Pine Grove Road. Thank you for letting me speak. So just a few, I support the ban on data centers, and I really wasn't planning on speaking, but after what I've heard, I decided that I'd throw some figures out here. So when we talk about air quality, there is a concern because if you do any sort of cogeneration, that's typically going to be using gas and using gas turbines. Gas turbines for the efficient models are about 7 years in the pipeline. What will happen is that the data centers will use inefficient models like Elon Musk did down at his Colossus 2 data center in Tennessee, which actually, I guess the generation is in Mississippi. And he is actually being sued, or XAI is, by the NAACP because it's spewing all kinds of pollutants into what is considered an impoverished area. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I mean, I can't even imagine what would happen to property values in this town if a data center were built. I mean, who the heck would want to live here? Nobody would want to be here. And the poor people who are living next to this thing, I mean, goodness, it would be awful. So I do thank the council for getting ahead of this. I would like to say, one gentleman mentioned some of the language, and I would like, I don't know who does this, I assume it's the township attorney, but there's a word in their third party, and I think it's a little bit misleading because it makes it sound as though it's a data center that would serve third parties, whereas Amazon could set up their own data center. They would not be a third party to that center, right? So the way I read the ordinance is that it appears to apply only to those companies that would actually put up a data center and then tenant it out, right? So I just would ask you to do that. And there are a couple of good definitions in federal law as well as in the state law, as that seem pretty comprehensive. Again, I'm not an attorney, so but I just picked that up. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The other thing I do want to say is that, again, I know I mentioned that I appreciate getting ahead of this. You know, when we look at this, you look at Kevin O'Leary, right, who has put up a data center in Utah, right, which is the size of Manhattan, okay, or that's what they're trying to do. They have reduced the footprint because people have complained, but the way in which it was done through some kind of arcane military court without an approval and a hearing before the town. And, and so what these individuals who are putting up these data centers will use every kind of trick. And to whoever said, we can't go up against Meta. And I would request, because there were several speakers that went over, I would request that I go over if that's okay with the council. Thank you. So it becomes very, like, when you look at the billionaires that are putting these things up, and you look at the corporations that are putting these things up, whoever said it, maybe it was someone on council, we don't have the resources to battle these people, right? By putting the ordinance in now, we at least have a stake in the ground. I mean, that's what I think we can do, and we can change it. I mean, we can change it. That's not an issue. Also, someone mentioned tax incentives. I do want to point out that in Virginia, which is known as like Data Center Alley, they have stopped tax incentives because they found that they do not increase jobs. They do not increase employment in any significant manner. So, I don't see the benefit of putting a data center here. And then I think, oh, yes, and one final point is that if you look at the amount of water usage, right, the way that these figures are reported can be misleading, because while the data center may use a certain amount of water, 12 times the amount of water is used at the utility to generate the power for these data centers. So the amount of water is actually a lot more than the data centers use. So thank you very much. I do appreciate your time.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
When you mentioned the data center in Utah, does that cover more than one township or more than one county based on its size?
I think it's only one county. I think it's like Box County or something is the name of it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, but that might include several towns also within that county.
Probably, it probably does.
Okay. I just wanted to try to get a perspective of the fact that we would have one here in Berkeley Heights, which is 5.5 square miles compared to, Union County, which is 21 towns. So
Right.
just to get an idea of that. Okay.
Yeah. The point was more to say that people will use any means to construct these things because there's a scarcity, right? I mean, yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna keep it Steve. Steve Carellis, 35 Sycamore. On the data centers, you should have led with the variance. And I see that number 16 is lonely. Nobody's talked about it. I want to thank whoever put out the reminder in English of tonight's meeting. That I think it said something about that ordinance as like putting a shack, a shed in your front yard. I'm interested to make sure I understand what the relating, as it says here, permitting an accessory. Is there a clear definition of what an accessory use is that this ordinance is impacting? That's my question.
Actually, Steve, before we introduce that, we have another.
We do, but we
could do it now.
No, we'll do it later. So the accessory use is defined I believe, both in the code as well as in the municipal land use law. You have primary uses and you have accessory uses. I don't remember the exact definition off the top of my head, so I'm not going to try to give the definition, but it is defined within the code.
Land use law.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what chapter because it's been a while since I've read it.
Is it a second house on the property, or is it just garages, sheds?
I mean, accessory use, it could in theory be a second house if, let's say, it would qualify as an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU. Which Berkeley does not allow. So other than that,
I'm sorry, what was not when?
An ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, which is like an apartment above a garage or in your basement, which Berkeley Heights, you're right, does not allow.
Okay, I got it.
So, yeah.
Does not allow that.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, Yeah,
There wouldn't be
typically,
it wouldn't be building one in a separate building.
correct. Yeah, typically an accessory use here is gonna be something like you said, like a, shed is
That seems
by,
to be
by
a
far the
common
most,
one.
it's by far the most common one, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's asking a scope question, so. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Real quick. Don't worry, this is. Tom Chesky, 40 Ralph Place. I just forgot to mention, did I mention the Andover? Have any of you heard about the Andover suit where the developer sued the town over their AI ban?
No?
Okay, that's a recent development and another reason why I feel that you should really table this to at least look into other towns that are starting to get sued over their ban. And I just from listening, you said that JCP&L and New Jersey Water has been completely silent.
Legal sign.
So have you reached out to them?
We don't, why should we reach out to them? They're silent on the fact that they're gonna put up a data center, okay? They're gonna be using electricity from them and water from them, okay? And you hear nothing from them about anything about rates, anything about electrical grids, anything else.
So nobody on the council has reached out to them. That's.
It's real simple. They got a horse in this race, okay?
Yeah, well,
They got a horse in this
we haven't
race.
reached out to them either, right?
We don't need to, no.
Okay, that was my question, a very simple question. And the last one I had, just again from listening, the benefits of it is that there could be huge amounts of revenue with very potentially minimum environmental effects if it's small enough. We're taking that all off the table. And do any of the people, I don't know, Andrew, if you have a technical background or not, but I believe that nobody on this council has a technical background to, is that correct? Do you have a technical background?
What is that? What's your point on it?
Well, we're making you're making a vote tonight to ban things. I hear people come up, I'm not sure, I would assume at least one of them have an engineering degree, I'm not sure, some kind of knowledge about the actual impacts of the data centers that we're talking about. And I've seen some presentations and that all sounds great. A lot of it seems to be about these mega facilities, like this one in Utah or wherever that was, but it's really, I think I'm an engineer and I believe that it's much more subtle than that. And you can have small data centers with minimal impact. And right now we're banning it completely.
Did you hear what I said about we are changing the land use, but any of the provisions in land use, a developer, a property owner can come and apply to do something that's currently not permitted.
Would they not need to apply now?
Well, because it's unclear whether it's a permitted use now.
So just like just want to make sure I understand. So what you're saying is, right now, the fear is somebody could come in, build a data center, and it would allow it, or it may allow it. It's at least questionable to allow it.
Cost us legal fees and planning fees and whatever. So this is the way municipal land use works. We have the land use code. And if there's setbacks for your house. There's a front setback, a side setback, and a back setback. So if on your rear property, you want to build a shed that goes up against the property line, that's not a permitted use because of the zone.
And I probably agree with a lot of that said, just to let you know, but I think what a lot of the residents are concerned about is that we went very quickly from rumblings of a data center and a paper that clearly was not written.
Right, actually, most of the people in the audience today were actually very supportive of the data.
I understand.
And so I think you've had your time,
Okay.
and I think we have to move
So
on.
you already made those points
Yeah,
before.
I'm just saying we had somebody, the concern is that it was so quick to come in.
We had a conference session, we had an introduction, just like we always do,
It was
introduction.
I believe it was 45 days since you made your presentation until today.
That's 45 days.
We've had as far as I've seen, not one engineering report or somebody with engineering going over this to say this was.
We follow the process that we follow. So you can disagree with that process and the timing, but this is the process that we follow. There's an ordinance on the table. It's up for adoption. This is the public comments.
And I actually think he's made a good point too, where at least you should fix the wording as well.
Okay,
You need to let somebody finish speaking before you start.
I'm already getting cut off. I just
so
want.
now we are done with public comments
Okay,
and we will proceed with our business.
okay. And
So you can see what we do next.
okay, I'm just saying again, table the ordinance until the,
Yeah, we
until.
heard you. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you very much for your input.
If I may, the lawsuit that was referred to in Andover had to do with the timing of when the ordinance was introduced to adopted. The entire time frame from conception to adoption in that case was like 15, 16 days, something like that. Which the argument is that that didn't comply with the requirements. Law here, as I think was just said, it was about 43 days, which is far more than the law requires. So the issue that may affect the Andover ban just doesn't apply here.
Thank you. Okay, I move to close the public hearing on the ordinances being considered for final adoption.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
I'm sorry, before we move. Sorry, Council President.
Yes.
If I may, on ordinance number 2026-16, this is the one having to do with the permitted accessory uses. So the backstory on this one is that the numbered or the letter bullets and the numbering after that, they were originally part of the code, several years ago. And a few years ago, for some reason, I'm not sure why, the numbers here were removed from the code. This came from a request from our zoning officer who asked that essentially that we just put back exactly what was there before. This was just literally kind of pretty much copied and pasted from the original ordinance. When we received the consistency review from the planning board here, the main thing that they pointed out is that there were essentially some words that had been dropped or were missing. And so I would ask, we're not sure if it came from the copy and paste, or if it was in the original ordinance that way, but essentially there are a couple words that should have been included, but for some reason are not. And so I'd ask that, I should say, these are not in any way substantive changes. These are just adding the words back in that should have been in here that don't change the meaning in any way, just make it grammatically correct and easier to read. So I would ask that the council make a motion to amend this ordinance, and I can read out the specific changes. I think there are three changes here. So if the council is okay with that, I can read out what the changes would be, and then we can, if the council is willing, we can hear a motion for it.
Actually, you need a motion first?
Let me read where the changes are, and then you can make a motion to it.
Sure.
So this is in ordinance 2026-16, section 3.1.1 B, and then the changes are going to be to B1, B2, and B4. In B1, we're adding in the phrase the words or incidental to. So it would now read: the proposed accessory use shall be customarily associated with or incidental to the permitted principal use on the lot. In B2, we would add in we're changing the word to adding the word consistent. So it will now say the extent, size, and intensity of the proposed accessory use shall be consistent with the scale, nature, and characteristics of the permitted principal use in the lot. And then in B4, adding in the words located within and excluding. So it would now say accessory buildings or structures located within a front yard, excluding fences and walls and swimming pools associated with hotel and or fitness uses in the OR-B zone shall be prohibited. So just those three, again, they're just fixing words that were essentially just dropped. So
Need a motion.
Vote to amend the ordinance number 2026-16 to, in accordance with the wording cited by the attorney.
I second that.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
Should we introduce that one first? Go out of order.
it's up to, yeah, actually, yes, that's yeah.
Yeah, you introduced that one first.
Madam Clerk, could you read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2026-17, 16, an ordinance clarifying the land use procedures of the Township of Berkeley Heights as it relates to permitted and accessory uses as well as violations of this ordinance.
Move to adopt the ordinance as read by the clerk.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2026-13.
An ordinance to designate data centers as a prohibited use in all zones within the township.
I move to adopt the ordinance as read by the clerk.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
Okay. No, that was Davis. Table that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance?
Ordinance 2026-17, ordinance appropriating $135,000 for road capital improvements in and by the Township of Berkeley Heights in the County of Union, New Jersey.
I move to adopt the ordinance as read by the clerk.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
I move to open the citizens hearing.
Oh,
You approve the accessory one and amend it at the same time, or just amend it?
yeah, oh, okay, amended it first, then approved it.
Okay.
Okay, correct?
Yes, we did two different, yes, there was a separate motion and a separate roll call vote, not as required, yeah.
Second.
Oh, yeah, we did, we're good.
Discussion on the citizens.
Who's second? I'm so sorry. Andrew.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mrs. Illis?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Mr. Maderos?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue?
Yes.
Okay, comments are welcome during the public comment period during this meeting on any matter of which the township has jurisdiction. To make your comment, the speaker must come forward to the microphone, state his or her name and address for the record. Each speaker is going to be limited to 3 minutes, and the township attorney has the clock. He'll keep the time. Please promptly yield the floor when time is called and return your seat. Your cooperation and adherence to these rules of order will ensure an orderly and respectful meeting. Thank you.
Sherry Park, 10 Arden Court. I live on Arden Court. We've had a lot of flooding over there. We have seen a lot of markings on the street taking place over the past few weeks or months, whatever. And I had sent actually an email back in June to you, Margaret, and CC, Liz here. Was wondering if there was an update on the West Side water project or, flooding project.
We are waiting on the DEP to get back to us with our designs. That's where we're at.
Do we know when they anticipate doing any type of work, at what time frame?
Not until the DEP comes back to us. I'll find out if the surveyors from Anglia, which is an engineering firm, are doing anything out there.
Somebody come to our backyards.
Like that's all, like, identify them.
I don't know. I know my neighbor, caught people in his backyard on his Ring camera, marking things, staking things out. I don't know, but that's why.
Then I think either you or your neighbor reached out to me. You had said that Neglia wasn't there, but it could be somebody, like a subcontractor or something.
Their house under construction on your street.
No,
Across the street.
but this was.
This was in their backyard. This was in our
This
backyard.
is in their backyard. So the stream or the.
Yes, the stream is back there
goes through the backyard, and that's why they thought it was related to the stream and aqueduct work that's being planned for Arden, but you said Neglia wasn't there. So could we get an update from DEP or Neglia for Arden Court?
I'll
ask my
email
neighbor.
you, because I know our DPW has been out inspecting streams because we've been putting a list together of the most clogged portions of town waterways, so we
I
can get a
didn't know
contractor
about
in
that.
too. So I'm wondering if that's maybe why they were over there. And
I can ask.
And I have your email too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Sherry.
Hi, Bhargavi Akiri. I have 4 questions. When is the brush pickup related to the storm? Has it been, is there a date?
It started yesterday.
Oh.
It started yesterday.
Okay, there
And it
is,
continued today.
okay. Also, we do have a street cleaner that goes around the town, right? Because one, yeah, but so the reason I'm asking is around where we are, Klein, Lawrence, Robbins, all of these, all the storm drains are completely covered. Yeah, so,
It's staying fixed
Yeah.
right now too. So
okay. Is the mayor in town?
she's with her daughter on a softball tournament in Tennessee.
Okay. So, quick question. So I know either by executive order, I wanted to ask, like, the mayor approved by executive order to increase the annual, I don't know what you call it, is it a salary or is it some sort of a payment for town council and for herself? So is it like paid in lump sum or?
Where did you see that?
That's 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was in the budget. There was no executive order on that.
I can send you right now.
Like 2 years ago.
No, there's
executive order.
there's
From
a,
a year.
no, it was not in. It was not, it's done every year, Mrs.
What is your question?
Yeah.
No,
So-
we don't do that. The bumps that they got.
No, we're not talking about the bump. I said for this year, for 2026, the increase was done by an executive order for 2026. And I have, it's on the agenda. I think no, the mayor got it from 4,500 to 5,500, got, right?
Saying
We-
no.
No.
No, we did, but not this
did
year.
pass
No, I
an
know,
ordinance
right.
that increased the
Previously,
mayor and
right.
council's.
By $500 each.
Yeah. So my question is, I believe we are all bound by ethics as elected representatives. So my question is, can the mayor increase her own salary by an executive order? Shouldn't it have been a vote by the council? Is my first question. And the second question is, how are you paid? Are you paid once?
Paid like what we're worth, right? At about a penny a day, I think we earn it.
Yeah.
I'm joking about that.
It's almost
No,
like $200 a meeting.
It's about
so-
quarterly.
It's quarterly?
Quarterly.
Okay. So what happens when you miss meetings?
Happens what?
What happens when somebody misses?
A lot of the work that we do is not here at the meeting. A lot of the work that we do is behind the scenes. I mean, even during the storm, I was on vacation, I was at meetings on Zoom, I was with the chief and the fire chief. So just because you miss a meeting doesn't mean you're not doing the work of the township.
Okay, so let's assume that the mayor is doing the job. So the other question I have is on one of the ordinances where you are approving the creation of a new job position of a deputy chief for police department. Is that, so what is the need, like what's the rationale for a deputy chief? And how many, what is the total strength of the police department in town? And what's the rationale for creation of a new position? Like why?
You're lucky, the chief is right here.
Right here. Chief, floor is yours.
So we're trying to plan for the future here. So we think it's important to be transparent with the community and get our vision out there in an ordinance. I recently attended an accreditation hearing where we were reaccredited by the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. And one of the items they suggested to us was, what is your plan as far as staffing? We currently have the same amount of staff. And this, all I can do is trace it back as far as the late 90s. We currently have the same amount of staff as late 90s. So it's important for us to plan. We're not funding these positions at this time. This is only to create these positions.
So we are about 35. What's the total strength right now?
Right now, we are at 28.
28. So by creating this position, that's adding, it's going to be 29.
There's other positions that are created besides.
Yeah, there is 4 additional, right?
It would bring it, if we were to fund every single one of those positions, it would bring us to 34.
34, including the deputy chief.
Correct.
So when you say we are creating the positions, but we're not funding them right now, what does that mean?
We are creating the positions,
Okay,
and then there's checks and balances in place. I would have to go to the council and ask for them to approve those funds in my budget.
okay,
Then it would have to be then hired by executive order of the mayor.
okay,
So when we have a year where we could do a projection where there are not significant increases in the next 5 years, because we do 5-year projections, it allows us to have the conversation to add this position if it's needed at that time.
okay. So you're
If the
just,
position's not created, we can't have that conversation around budget time.
so but your budget for 2026 has already been approved, correct?
Yes, the deputy
That-
chief is not in that budget.
Not there, and it will not be added this year?
It will not be added this year, will not be added next year.
Okay, So it'll be, you're creating the position. So if you don't see the need for this position in 2026 or 2027, why create the position now?
I have my 5-year plan in that ordinance.
So, and this is the 5th year, like this is the year to approve that? When was the last 5-year plan done?
I'm the first chief lucky enough to come up with a 5-year plan and put it into ordinance.
Okay, got it. One other question regarding, I'm seeing the new traffic, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
New traffic lights go up near Cornell, and there is like no left turn. Was there an engineering study done?
County road. You'd have to ask the county on that. We have no control of that.
Well, so that was proposed as part of the Connell development for safety. And they, I believe, did a traffic study. They came in front of the planning board. It was discussed in depth, both the need for the traffic light and concerns about a traffic light there was discussed. But it takes a long time for these constructions to happen. So you're seeing it being constructed now, but it was actually discussed and approved
I don't remember when.
a bunch of years ago.
So was there an engineering study done to install the traffic light there?
Yes. Absolutely. It was required, yes.
And so who do I have to email to request that engineering study?
Secretary.
Planning board secretary?
We'd have that, okay.
Connie Valente. Steve Valente.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve would have let us know.
Hello, Ed Galatelli, 13 Riceman Road. At the last council meeting on 6:30, I brought up the fact and question that there were currently three open recreation commissioner vacancies out of 7 seats. These 3 open seats became available in October 2025 when Rec Chair Deb Varnerin, now a part-time employee of the township, hired by the mayor and township administrator in early 2026 as recreation field manager, resigned. And then in December 2025, 2 other seats when PAL liaison Doug Caruso resigned and Christine Gertzma's term expired after 10 years of dedicated service. Why, might you ask, when there were 3 qualified applicants who submitted their rec commission applications electronically through the township website as standard operating procedures, these seats remain open? Okay, that's one question. First applicant, Steve Hughes, submitted his application in December 2025, and then 2 other applicants, Phil Burrows and Ryan Larson, PAL affiliation, followed in early 2026. No sense of urgency by the mayor to fill these seats, leaving 4 current and extremely qualified rec commissioners, 2 of which are in the back of the room tonight, to manage under difficult circumstances. Is it intentional? Is a question. Everything becomes clearer understanding the plan to dissolve the Rec Commission that started with the Rec Financial Review in December 2025 through March 2026, finding nothing. So Plan A didn't work. Shifting gears to Plan B, let's dissolve the Rec Commission with your agenda ordinance at the 6:30 Town Council meeting when the town will be sleeping leading into 4th of July holiday week. Again, thwarted by the township's showing of full support for all things Berkeley Heights recreation. I do applaud the courage of Councilmember Andy Moran to make the motion to remove the ordinance from the June 30th agenda after 3.5 hours of public support and opinion, followed by your unanimous vote to rescind the ordinance. The next day, Wednesday, July 1st, I followed up with an email to the mayor, township administrator, town council, township HR, CC the 4 members of Recreation Commission, requesting to fill the 3 vacancies by the Rec Commission's meeting on Thursday, July 2nd. The response from the township HR was mayor is out of town again. All appointments come from the mayor via executive order. She'll be back next week. So now we're 2 weeks. No response to my email. No executive orders issued to fill the Recreation Commission and still 3 vacancies wide. Ironically, and most likely, Plan C to take down the Rec Commission, Rec Department, and Carolyn George seated in the back of this room, continued on Friday, July 3rd, just 3 days after the June 30th meeting, when county officials appeared on an anonymous complaint looking for deficiencies to audit the Associate Rec Director, Carolyn George, and the Berkeley Heights Playground Camp. With approximately 430 registered campers on a routine day, 300 to 350 kids, and now a county audit. Really? Asking questions about child safety, endangerment policies, injury logbooks, food prep, safety grounds, multiple potential violations, looking for anything they could find. You'll have to attend the Rec Commission meeting on July 28th to find out the results. If you remember, Berkeley Heights was hit by a storm over 4th of July holiday week. Where do you find Associate Rec Director Carolyn George on July 4th, the federal holiday? How about hooking up generators at her playground camp, not to lose power to the freezers so the ice cream and freeze pops held form, in addition to contacting a tree service to clear a tree in the playground camp area so camp was ready to open. Well, could have opened on Monday, July 6th, but actually opened on Tuesday, July 7th. Do you realize what type of person, what type of township employee you have in Carolyn George? I don't think so. So where is the executive order that was discussed last week? Where's the resolution agreed on 6/30 to promote Carolyn George to Recreation Director, removing her associate title? Another question. And if the anonymous county inspection complaint wasn't enough, what I call Plan D to take down the Rec Commission, Rec Department, continued on Tuesday, July 7th, when a New Jersey state health official visited camp asking the same questions as Friday's officials. Quite ironic. And unfortunately, I'm leaving out the, I'm not leaving out, I did mention it, I'm sorry, just rereading something. So then I'll reiterate, on Tuesday, July 7th, a state official shows up down at playground camp, asking the same questions that the county officials on that Friday asked, okay? What did they find? Again, attend Tuesday's, July 28th Rec Commission meeting to find out. So my question, again, I want to hold the council responsible here to reach out to the mayor and to appoint the 3 qualified applicants, and maybe there's more that I'm unaware of, before the next Recreation Commission meeting. Seeing that the mayor is not here to answer, an executive order can be issued by the mayor when she is out of town. These applicants have been in place for over 7 months now, again, with no sense of urgency to fill these slots. This all looks like harassment to me, to the Recreation Department. No? I appreciate you shaking your head no.
No, it's
Right?
not, but thank you for your feedback.
Please take it serious. Please understand what you have in Carolyn George, and please get these 3 rec commissioners added to the rec commission. Thank you.
We used to do a line.
Good evening again. Natasha Jolly, Berkeley Heights. So at the last Rec Commission meeting, Mr. Foster, right, you had promised to provide an update on the Lower Columbia project, right, at the meeting today. So I guess the ask is, will you go ahead and provide this update?
Absolutely.
Okay. Also on the executive, and I guess I'll mention that I'm also Vice President of the Board of Education, though I do not speak for the board. I did notice in the executive session, right, you had an item for discussion that said shared services, negotiations, right? So so what I understand the shared services agreement to be is the maintenance plan. Are you talking about the maintenance plan or the lease? So and we're not in any negotiations. The first time we're we're not negotiating anything. The first time we've seen it was this exec committee item. So that's my second question. And I guess so you'll provide the update. The other question I have is with respect to pilot properties and Terrace 2, right? I think last we heard that they have not filed for a pilot property. When they do, I know this was asked in the past. I think even when, the BOE was doing its budget, publicly discussed, so I'm not, saying anything out of turn.
Is it appropriate for you to talk about this as the Vice President of the Board of Education?
I'm also a
meeting?
Yes, I'm also a taxpayer because Terrace 2 is a property that you're working on with with the developer.
No pilot agreement that has been asked for, and you are
Not yet.
Board of Ed.
Yeah, that's okay. I am still a tax-paying resident. I am not, all I'm asking, and I know that, and I even preface this by saying that I know that there is no pilot agreement in place, right? They haven't come for it. I just think as a town council, will you be including the district in those discussions? That's it. Thank you.
So one thing I'd say about the having to do with the contract negotiations. So we received a communication months ago. We received last month or so. We received a communication from the DEP because part of the area that's owned by the township is Green Acres, and they had some questions about the use and the agreement, the shared services agreement, and eventually the DEP realized that much of what they thought was happening there was not, and that most of their questions were irrelevant. Eventually, DEP told us that they had concerns about the shared service agreement in terms of whether or not there was sufficient indemnification of the DEP itself in the agreement, as well as whether or not there were sufficient restrictions on how the township and how the school board are able to or prioritizing use for residents versus non-residents. To make any changes that are being requested by the DEP, that would involve amending the shared services agreement, which would involve a contract negotiation. And so that's what as very broadly speaking, what the closed session is about, is for the council to decide what, if any, changes they want to seek from the school board in response to what we have heard from the DEP. So that's really what that closed session is about.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Michelle Philippi. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I'm at 531 Park Avenue. I have been a resident of Berkeley Heights for the past 16 years. To be completely honest, I am not someone who likes to get up to speak at these meetings. Public speaking is not something I easily do. I'm very nervous right now. And I usually prefer to listen, but I'm standing here tonight because I felt absolutely compelled to speak up. What is happening is fundamentally wrong, and I could not sit in silence while it happens. I am here tonight to speak on behalf of Carolyn George, our Recreation Commission, and the future of our town's youth programs. I have 3 kids in this school district. My oldest child is entering 10th grade. He's in the audience with my husband. My middle is in 8th, and my youngest is in 3rd. For years, Carolyn has been a foundational pillar in their lives. From playground camp, teen scene, to winter walk, Santa visits, fun bunch, concerts in the park, Carolyn doesn't just direct these events. She rolls up her sleeves and gets her hands dirty. She has comforted our kids through injuries and helped them through personal issues. She does a job that she isn't even formally paid to do, going above and beyond in ways you do not see in today's world. My oldest child will never forget the impact that she has had on his life. Carolyn is someone our entire family deeply admires. Because of this deep respect and the recent actions of this council, that have been incredibly confusing and concerning to the public, the township hired an attorney and launched an investigation to find wrongdoing within the Recreation Commission. That investigation failed to find any, and any subsequent recommendations from that report was fully implemented. What is most alarming is that this item was not on the original agenda made available to the public. It was slipped on at the absolute last minute, right before the meeting began. Why would an issue impacting thousands of local families be pushed forward without proper public notice and in such a rushed manner? To the residents of this town, a last-minute addition like this creates a strong perception of an intentional attempt to bypass public scrutiny. It looks deliberate and, quite honestly, it looks shady. Members of this council have publicly stated how much they love Carolyn and want her to continue her work, yet you are simultaneously moving to dissolve the very commission that allows her to do that, shifting total control directly to the township. If a system has worked so beautifully for years, why break it? Why try to find fault, and when that fails, rush an agenda item to dissolve that commission? Furthermore, the public is so accustomed to Carolyn's leadership that she is widely referred on many platforms as our recreation director. The reality is she has never been given that formal title, nor the compensation that should come with it. We owe this woman a public apology, and we owe her the formal recognition and backdated restitution funds for the immense labor that she has given to this town. I want to thank the council for tabling this ordinance at the last meeting. You saw the overwhelming community pushback and made the right call to pause. Tonight, I urge you to kill this ordinance permanently. Do not fix what is not broken. Protect our volunteer commission, protect Carolyn, and maintain the trust of the residents who voted you into these seats. Thank you very much.
Can I just publicly correct something, because it seems like there's some misinformation out there that is very important to correct. This ordinance that was introduced but then was tabled by council promoted Carolyn to director, okay? Carolyn's great at what she does. The town did not hire a township attorney to dig up anything on recreation. It's important that these are clarified, because they can be dangerous things to be thrown around if they're inaccurate. What Mr. Galatelli was referring to about the people from I still have to talk to the rec commission to get details about this. The people that stopped at playground camp, we didn't know anything about that until somebody from the rec commission mentioned it to me last week. So I believe it's being purposefully stated to make it look like we are doing something here that we are not doing. And the public should not be misled about this, because it's a dangerous road to go down. And I just want to correct that. We still have to talk to the rec commission. Some of the rec commission members have been on vacation. Mike was doing the feast. Okay, when the dust settles, we want to talk to them about what happened, because I still don't have details. So
Thank you for saying that, Liza.
council doesn't even know about this. So, well, you get up here and you purposely mislead people, Ed. You do.
Okay.
You do.
All right, so I just want to piggyback on what Liza said. When we were at the street fair, the block party, Union County health inspectors, which are contracted by us because they're our shared service, there are
Right.
Board of Health, right? The health inspector came and reviewed every food vendor at the block party. I don't know if they've done that in the past, but they did it then. So you said that Union County came without notice to the playground camp. Yes, that's what they do, is they go without notice to investigate, to inspect, because that's what they're contracted to do. So there's no boogeyman here, nor did we know anything about their inspection schedule. So, and the only reason I added that was because I was physically there at the block party when the Union County person showed up and took the thermometer and put it in the refrigerators and the hot areas, and looked at the hand washing stations and all of the other facilities having to do with health. So if that's not what happened at playground camp, then, Carolyn should talk to Liza, and Liza will assist in getting to the end of it, the bottom of it. Thank you.
Can I make one comment before that?
Sorry.
Oh.
Say it, Nelson.
Nelson, state.
I just want to say that we, at the rec commission, we accept and actually look forward to that inspection. It wasn't just an inspection, though. It was an anonymous letter with 20 detailed alleged violations.
Just trustee, but just, and just so you.
Okay.
Just spoke with Mike DeQuilla last Friday,
Yeah.
okay? I spoke to him on the phone about this. I saw him in person. And I didn't even know about the one with the Union County. He told me about the state
Right.
coming in. I didn't even know about
And
that.
then the state.
And then he
So
told me about that.
it's just the timing of the double team and the anonymous letter that was submitted to both organizations. Obviously, you know, look, town does a great job with the camp, right? It'd be disastrous for something like that. The camp gets shut down. Now, if there was reason to, that's fine. I can, you know, at this point, there's really was nothing that was found, which was the great news. Few cleanup items, and we'll deal with Liza. We can talk to you about that.
It's an anonymous letter,
Anonymous letter.
not an email,
Anonymous letters were submitted to both organizations.
handwritten.
I think we should talk to the rec commission about this, like, which we have not had a chance to do.
Just,
And just,
and-
you know,
and
thank you
I'm-
for coming, commission.
And I'm grateful that none of you knew, right? So they're not part of it, and
Maybe
obviously.
Somebody that's not on the rec commission gets up. and-
Right.
So I just want to correct, right? You were involved, that's tremendous, right? And it just was bad timing, right, at this time of year.
So in the future, it would be beneficial if the rec commission, if you have things to say, come forward and say them directly. Don't send other people up.
Well,
If they're-
I look, there's lots of rumors, right? So we can't control people coming in.
Guys,
Right. All I'm saying is, look, we need some help protecting the town, the camp, right? We should be aligned, in my view, right?
Absolutely.
And I want the council's commitment
I
to
said
that.
that at your meeting.
You did too, right,
They
right.
doors.
Right, but, you know, we've got a resource that needs to be protected, and people shouldn't be taking shots at us, right? And that to me is really wrong. And we need your
And that
help.
said, it's wrong to sit up here and hear about plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D to sabotage it, because that's not.
Right.
No, I can speak for, I think, can I speak for all of us?
Yeah.
That's not in our character.
I'm
So do we have
grateful
a copy of that letter? We have a copy of that letter?
No, that it's anonymous, so that.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
No, no,
where is it?
So Liza will get to the bottom of it, and then we can meet with
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So Liza will.
We'll meet Liza, we can talk, and then you can share on the council, right?
State council,
Right.
and we will provide, somebody will provide an update to the community.
That's fine, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay.
Nelson's next, Nelson's next.
Nelson Stauber, 125 Park Avenue. I've been in town for 50 years. I hope that the council will love the irony of last meeting when that cool executive from JCP&L and his little underling stood up here and gave us this beautiful presentation on how they were going to handle a storm, and then we got hammered.
Not lost on any of us.
The irony is not lost on us, trust me. when I tell you.
I can't stop laughing thinking about it, but I want to thank the chief and his crew and Liza and her crew and the mayor and all you folks for all, you didn't get any sleep. I saw it on Tap Into that you couldn't, that you tried so hard to talk to JCP&L and they wouldn't talk to you. And I thought that here this guy was standing here telling us this beautiful story. You know, I'm not happy with Peppertown Park. Nothing seems to be done for several months. You indicated that it was going, stage 2 is going to come in the spring and stage 1 isn't finished. If you pull out of, say, the liquor store and make a right-hand turn to Plainfield Avenue, trying to avoid the curb, you're literally in the other lane. I hope that someone else sees this as I have seen it. I would have wished that $1.2 million could have gone to the sewer plant instead of the Band-Aids and the begging and getting on our knees to get money to fix it. One more thing. Last year I asked you about the nursing home on Springfield Avenue, and folks had indicated that, yeah, there's a person who was going, or developer who was going to take it, and there it sits for a year later with nothing done. Also, when the county bought the land from Berkeley Plaza, I believe the mayor indicated that we were going to try to create that portion as you come over the hill as a wonderful area to welcome folks to Berkeley Heights. Yet the house across the street that was there has been torn down and has been vacant for years. If you drive up Plainfield Avenue on the left-hand side across from where that little building of Morehouse company is, there's a brand new house that's not been finished and it's been sitting there for years. If you cross Mountain Avenue, there is a brick house on the right-hand side that had burned years ago and the woman rebuilt it. Chuck McCluskey lives next door. He's been taking care of it. It's been at least 15 years. She ran out of money because she added too many things to it. The space next to the Berkeley Barber, who was bought and they tore the building down, and then the guy, according to the barber, that he resold the property again. Is there anything that we can do to stop this or force these people to do something to these properties? I don't like the way the town looks.
The vacant property, Manny Kudo was the vacant property, but are any of these vacant?
Oh, yeah.
No, the building, they have, the planning board approved something for across from Berkeley Caterers, right?
Yes, so across from Berkeley Caterers, there's a triangular lot. It was owned by the same people. So that development has been approved there. A small apartment building with a cafe or some small downstairs. As far as the single family homes, if you can give Angela, if you know the numbers of the houses, then we can look it up and see what the status of that is. As far as the nursing home, they had a plan that went to the technical review committee, which is, it's a pre-committee. They work with our engineering and the
They try to work out the bugs before that.
it's before it gets to the planning board, right? To make sure that the plans are all complete. So it hasn't made it out of that process yet. So I know. They sat on it for years. Right, so we heard about the development when I was on the planning board, and that was 3 years before I'm on council, and I've been on council for 3 years. So, but they keep the lawn mowed, so it isn't the vacant property ordinance because it's technically safe.
That's all you have to do is keep the lawn mowed, because the front of it is not really.
And then I did hear that there's movement on that empty lot that you're talking about, next to that, the barber and the little mall. I haven't heard what the details on that are, but I believe that that's moving forward.
It just seems to take so long.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating.
The town doesn't look, it looks terrible.
I know.
All right.
And
We agree.
so with Peppertown Park, they did lay the bricks.
No,
The issue, I have this in my report at the end, but these bricks that were required as part of this project, we could not get them delivered. I don't know why, manufacturing, delivery, logistical issues, whatever it was. So finally last week, I was like, just pick another darn brick because this is crazy. So we picked a similar brick and that has been ordered. So should be finding out next week when the construction will resume.
thanks. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Nelson.
Mark on 58 Runnymede Road. Excited to hear about the field, because I know you're going to answer Mrs. Jolly. One thing I wanted to just clear up that you said, Liza, and apologies for calling Eliza, but I do agree that the offer was Carolyn gets the position if the commission dissolves. That's what she would get, the position if we dissolved. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
Commission voted to.
Right,
The
but
commission voted to promote.
correct.
And then we needed to pass an ordinance because that job
Right.
title doesn't exist.
And there's plenty of job titles here that don't exist in town, correct?
All right, so
Yes.
the ordinance included converting the rec commission to a rec committee.
Right.
That got pulled. We didn't have a separate ordinance prepared that
Right.
was just the job title.
Correct.
So there was.
Which we are working on, but I wanted to make it clear that at that time, the offer was,
It's not an offer.
well.
The restructuring.
Okay. In order for her to get it, the commission would dissolve. Listen, we can just.
It was never sequence contingent on the ordinance.
Mm.
It was part of the ordinance.
But I wanted,
Guarantee.
all right, but I wanted to be clear about that too. In support of Ed, it has been 7 months. I tell people now as a joke when I see them, do you guys have new commission members? I say, no, you should apply so that there's 12 on our desk, or 13, or 14. And I get it. You guys don't want to touch it. It's fine. Don't touch it.
We don't touch it.
But we can't
touch it.
The mayor doesn't want us.
No, but you could.
It's her, it's
So
her
you said
role.
it, so you said it, the mayor
No,
doesn't
well,
want you to touch it.
Not
So
the.
there you go.
And-
There you go.
Sorry.
The mayor doesn't want you to touch it.
No.
Mark, don't take it out of context.
You could
Mark,
have a conversation. John,
don't take it out of context.
you know the work we're doing is 4 guys.
And I understand that.
Right, but
But
it's
we cannot do something that is outside of our purview.
But you can have a conversation. You just said she sends her regards, so it means you're having conversations. Listen, I came up here to defend it. I came up here to defend Ed. He's right. It's been 7 months because he was on the commission when it happened.
The fact that it's 7 months, he is right, yes. But it's not a plan.
Again, I don't want to make the paper again, so I'm not gonna say it, but it's not planned. But I'm excited to hear about the field. It's the Lower Columbia. So thank you.
I've had two. Good evening. Michael Blonda, 156 Klein Boulevard. June 30th, JCPenney was here. Bob Flynn and Gilbert Guerrero spoke and they promised us miracles. We've had a lot of miracles in July. July 1st, we had a power outage in Berkeley Heights. July 2nd, we had a power outage in Berkeley Heights and New Providence. July 3rd, 80% Berkeley Heights is in the dark.
Actually, it was 82.
Well, I'm being generous to JCPenney, which is something I don't normally do. July 4th, 80% of Berkeley Heights is in the dark. July 5th, power outage continues. JCPenney reps falsely accused Berkeley Heights residents of harassing their workers on Klein Boulevard. Berkeley Heights PD investigates. JCPenney wasn't even on Klein Boulevard, and the accused resident was in a different state. And again, I got a nice conversation with the mayor. Like, are you bothering that?
I called you.
Okay, it was the mayor's account. Okay, listen, I got a phone call. No, I'm in a different state. But my presence is so great that JCPenney is afraid to even be near my property, apparently. July 6th through 10th, outages continue, a full week of outages. July 14th, outage in Berkeley Heights. July 15th, outage in Berkeley Heights. July 19th, outage in Berkeley Heights. Today, outage in Berkeley Heights. 21 days in July. 14 of those days have included power outages. It's amazing. And now, the meeting we need to have a JCPenney rep here, they're not here. They're not being held accountable. July 7th, I sent an email to the entire council and mayor. No replies from anyone. I've sent numerous emails. Only 2 members have ever replied to my emails. Thank you, Ms. Pogue and Ms. Illis. The rest of you don't respond. I've sent more than a dozen emails about the power outage issue, and your silence says all I need. I did finally speak to 2 state reps, Assemblyman Kearney and Assemblyman McCurdy. I spent 20 minutes on the phone with Assemblyman McCurdy yesterday. The state seemed to just deal with this problem, if Berkeley Heights is not. The NJBPU, $44 million fine. That's not even 5% of First Energy's 2025 profit. So town resources continue to have to respond to JCPenney incidents, costing us overtime. How much did that cost the town this month so far? Our school district had to close again on July 6th, 3rd time this year because of power outages. Businesses lose sales, again, the entire July 4th weekend, unable to serve our community because we don't have power. So only one question remains. Is the leadership of Berkeley Heights going to do something about this ongoing crisis?
Yeah, I think the mayor has talked to the state, to the government,
Governor.
to the assemblyman. We're trying to do everything we can with JCPenney. Our hands are kind of
But
tied.
she's leaving office. She's not going to be here after this.
They're setting up a meeting with the BPU
Right, so the next BPU meeting, there will be somebody from the council, at least one of us will be there. Unfortunately, the BPU meetings, you might know this, they're at 7 o'clock on like a Wednesday night in Trenton. So that's not the easiest thing for Berkeley Heights to do. It doesn't mean that we're not going to do it. You know, I'm driving to Trenton, I promise you that. And if you would like, I'll send you an update after I do my, comments at the VPU meeting. Hopefully there's gonna be more than one of us there. We do take these seriously. We've had conversations among ourselves on what else we can do. Just because you don't get a response from council doesn't mean that we don't hear you. And I guess that's, all of us should take that to heart, that you should hear back from us.
And I'll tell you,
I'm not very good at responding to something that comes to all council members, because we don't know when somebody else responds, right? We don't do a reply all because we can't, because then all of us are on an email and it's like,
violation.
tell Scott why I can't do that.
It's a violation. Mr. Lovato, I'm going to tell you, I've been also in contact with Assemblyman McCurdy's office and Peter Corso, and I gave them a lot of details about what's going on here and what the problem is. I spoke about what that JCP&L, I forget his name, Flynn?
Bob Flynn.
Yeah, so he talked about those country wires that are good for his area up there. I said, well, we need those country wires, and he said he would be an advocate, so I am in conversations with our LD 21.
And the fact that JCP&L standing here with us said that we're not even gonna see a plan for their infrastructure improvements for another 2 years, and then God only knows where we fit on their priority list. It could be 10 or 12 years before we get anything out of their pot of money.
And I sent that to
And that's
Assemblyman
just
McCurdy.
unacceptable.
Yeah.
So it's unacceptable.
We tried to do everything in our sphere of influence to be, we all live here too without power too, and I know Europe House, for some reason, I'm not sure why, you go out a lot. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
that.
so Susan and I are going to something that Assemblyman McCurdy is having this week. It's like a local leaders conference to talk about issues that affect everybody. And I'm sure this is this Thursday. It's very timely. I'm sure based on the calls we had with JCP&L during the outages, like every official there is going to be talking about the same thing. So it's on their radar. We're doing what we can.
and
And
it's
we're
just-
going to use the information you sent us for our town.
Well, it's
specifically.
updated
Thank
because
you.
it's more as still.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for that.
We do thank you for your patience.
Liza, we should borrow his shirt.
Tom Chesky, 40 Rough Place. So the mayor's missing again today, and
Missing, she's at a softball tournament
is it the same softball tournament, the same one as last time?
with her family.
Okay, and
I think we're her daughter.
and also she was missing for the
She
entire,
wasn't missing,
How
she
did-
was she was not missing, she was in constant communication with us. And even though she was in Colorado, also for something for her daughter.
okay, but she hasn't been here and we had a lot of important things and I understand, but it seems like she's been missing quite a bit. And I would just want to say thank you and thank you to the chief. You guys kept us informed. But I do think that the mayor is supposed to be the person, that's like the main job of the mayor. One of the main jobs is to be the face when when we have problems. But my question really is about the library board. Has anybody attended the library board? You have?
Mhm.
As a are you the
I
representative?
attended as a resident, and then I was appointed as the mayor's designee to the library board.
Okay, so now you're
I'm
the,
on the board.
okay, thank you. I have a question for the township attorney, actually. Did you text somebody in the council while the meeting's going on?
No, another attorney from my office is covering another township meeting of mine up in Teaneck tonight, and so he's been sending me updates of what's going on at the meeting.
All right, you didn't text anybody here though, right? Okay, thank you. And would that be operable
I'm sorry?
if there were texts, that would be operable, right?
It depends, you're asking hypothetically, if I were, it would
Yeah.
depend on what the message is, most likely it would be covered by attorney-client privilege, but we're talking about a hypothetical here, I can't really answer a hypothetical.
Okay, thanks. And the last one, Is anybody here happy with the width of Sherman Ave, the way Sherman Ave came out? Is there anything that could be, you like that?
I didn't say that. I said we need to wait till it's I was thinking in my head before I said it. We have to wait till it's finished. I think you can't judge a project until the project is finished, to be fair.
In the park itself, I'm talking more the street changed and I don't know. I don't know anybody in town that likes the way it turned out. I don't know if it's too late to kind of make it a little bit wider over there or.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
well, certainly, I'm on the Complete and Green Streets Committee. He's on the
presentations before the town.
environmental, great, we had presentations, we got federal dollars from this, so we did a public presentation, I was at that one too.
But you do like the way it turned out.
It is a standard road size. I know it's like
Yeah.
much different than what we're used to there, but it's no smaller, it's no
No.
less wide than a standard road.
Uh-huh.
We may make some adjustments, like cutting off some of those entry and exits to Bread and Brew. There shouldn't be two there anyway, that's sort
That's
of.
because there was a bank.
Right,
why.
it's a
Yeah.
different use now, so we're gonna make modifications when it's done to make sure we can improve any sort of traffic flow along there. But I just wanna make clear, it's a legal road size. Legal
So
is
are
what
you,
I'm looking for.
are you happy with that, the way it is now, or
It's different, I know
is that a yes?
it's different, yeah. We do.
The project needs to be
We need a
complete.
stripe.
If you do any work on your house, you don't stand there, look at it and go, boy, that wall looks great missing over there.
And we do
Oh,
have-
that, you need to.
So you're confident that when it's done, we're all gonna be happy?
Control your feet.
Mountain Avenue. Just to change it up a bit, the tax bills are gonna be late. Is that because
County. I know for sure that's the county.
it's the county?
Yes,
Oh, good.
we were waiting on them.
Thank you. All right. On, that was number 2026-251. On 2026-258, Westminster Court is being, built. What, is that gonna be a township road once it's completed?
We can't answer that.
It's in the planning board, in the Board of Adjustment resolution.
The houses? Okay, no, but what I'm concerned about is the no left-hand turn issue. As per the agreement, as I read it, the police department or the engineering department reasonably recommends that hours could be extended based upon, they have a sign set up and it's, I think between 7 and 9, no left-hand turn, or 4 and 5, something like that. I would think it would be best just to just make it only a right-hand turn only, because I did my own little, traffic. Plainfield Mountain is where the Westminster, school was, church. Right, so now if you look down that road, it's a curve, and it's pretty precise there. And you got a 35-mile-an-hour Plainfield Avenue going north, and you have a 40-mile-an-hour Mountain Avenue, so when people make that turn, I don't think there may be enough time, if someone's gonna make a left-hand turn, to come out and react, because you're gonna go across 2 stripes. So, and this take into consideration that when the traffic study was done, the project started, the increase of traffic since this project started would only continue to increase with the additional housing and commercial establishments on the Connell site. Connell's proposed new construction on Plainfield Avenue for condominiums. The new housing site that's gonna go up by the old Pomerantz by the Route 78 access road. And there's also new houses in Watchung and Warren that are coming online. And then take into consideration that you have Mary Kay McMillan there, and if you've ever seen all the families when they come out and dropping their kids off, you'll always see that there's a long line of people basically making that right-hand turn down Plainfield Avenue. And the reason why I ask you is Westminster, I think it's gonna be called Westminster Street, is because whoever's gonna plow the snow is gonna leave snowbanks, and that's gonna further cause a problem for the viewing of the driver going north down towards Springfield Avenue and Plainfield. So I'm just making that recommendation. You might want to say, only make that a right-hand turn to prevent some kind of problem in the future.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Now,
He's listening, I can tell.
Intently, by the way.
well, that's the next guy I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
2026-19. Okay, so I think it's fantastic. Here's a 5-year plan, and I think you guys all know since I've been talking here, I'm concerned about the long-term effect of Connell Corporation, the Connell Company, the Connell Park, Connell Sugarcane, whatever you want to say, but can a charge be applied to them much like when we have the fire watch? So I did a little research, and I could be wrong here. You might be able to help me out here, Scott. But under the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law, MLUL, and evolving state impact fee legislation, a municipality can require a high-rise developer to fund public safety infrastructure via proportionate fair share agreement. However, there must be a clear rational nexus, that's a fancy word I picked up the other day, showing that a high-rise directly created this need. So if maybe the township was aware of this or not aware of it, or, could we have used it to basically help fund the police? Because there's no two ways about it. When everything's said and done, when that's done, that's gonna be a 50% increase in the township population, okay? So I'm just asking you to see if you can explore that.
So I can address that. So we're allowed to do exactly what we suggested in one of two situations. The first is if we have a redevelopment agreement, which needs to be the redevelopment zone, which this is not. And so we're limiting that. The other is you're saying high rise, the correct, really, the more accurate word is really skyscraper. If you,
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You said like it was 20 stories, that's
Right.
only 11.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying to you is that I also did the research, said that if we still have any kind of control that we could use as leverage with the planning board and with the township council to try to realistically talk to them to help the police department,
Yes, we are doing this.
All right.
We've been in talks with the chief because he's concerned about that too.
Right.
So
Okay, so I mean, we do need more police people, and change is inevitable, as much as I hate it, but you gotta be prepared for it.
So Joe, just something I'm gonna throw this out there. As they develop that corporate site,
Correct,
the land is more developed.
correct.
Therefore, it is worth more
Mhm,
and they pay more in taxes.
correct,
So the increase in taxes will help offset our increases for infrastructure and police and things like that. So it's not the only tool that we have,
mhm.
but I don't want people to think that they're building and they're not getting anything back to the township.
Oh, no.
As they do those developments, they will pay us more taxes.
Because one of the other questions I was gonna talk to the chief about is, from what I understand, they have a security patrol of sorts. And where does the liability start and end when our police have to go get involved with their security people? So that's one of these things I'm concerned about long-term. I may not be around for it, but, a young guy here, you'd like to see him get all the tools that he needs to keep the township in nice shape. Now, I wasn't gonna say this, but Eddie, you brought up those things before. I just can't keep my mouth shut. So that might have been a coincidence with all those things. Yes, but just so you know, I don't believe in coincidences. And the other thing is, I don't think anybody in this room did anything with the anonymous letter. Take into consideration what I just said. Nobody in this room. I grew up in Hudson County, and I know how the system works. And there's a whole bunch of little things that people can do, talk to people they know, and try to make suggestions. And with that, I thank you for your time, and God bless America.
Excuse me?
Right.
David Sankel, 75 Grandview Ave. You guys take a lot of abuse. I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to dish it out. So, as a father of 10, I care deeply about my children's future, which I'm sure many of you can relate to. It's my dream that they will eventually become productive members of society, each beautifying the world in their own way. Some will be more wealthy, and others will be less so, and that's okay, because wealth is an extremely poor proxy for human value. I'm deeply concerned that my children with more modest means will not be able to afford to live in the land of their childhood, and will be forced to leave their parents and 9 siblings behind. This is a sad state of affairs, and it is caused in no small part by the excessive tax burden of Berkeley Heights. At the last meeting, I brought up the wild 1.7 million in annual expenditures we have for the Berkeley Heights Public Library. And the mayor suggested I attend the library board meeting. And I thank the mayor for suggesting I do that. I did that. So even as an avid library user, my family visits at least 3 times a week the library. I was appalled at what I saw at that meeting. First, the finances are in disarray. And independent nonprofits' funds are indiscriminately mixed into the town's finances. Doesn't make any sense. Furthermore, there's a massive reimagining of the library fund without a clear, transparent mandate, leaving those dollars entirely at the director's discretion. Spending is immoderate. $15,000 to buy 3 book bins for picture books. $30,000 to pay a consultant to do surveys and develop a plan. We're bringing on a marketing person. Why does a public library need a marketing person? We've got a director and an assistant director, yet we need to hire an administrative coordinator for 12 hours a week at $33 an hour to prepare library board packets. They talked about hiring someone to teach mahjong classes at the library. And while community activities have value, funding these classes falls far outside the core taxpayer-funded mandate of a library. I don't think that this is getting enough attention. The Library Council had barely enough attendees to reach quorum, just by 1 person to reach quorum, despite offering a call-in Zoom option. So I don't really understand why people aren't attending. The town council chooses who sits on this board, and I'm aware of at least 1 seat which is open. So will this council commit to appointing people to the library board who will push hard for transparency, accountability, and reasonable spending practices? We could easily cut $500K a year in spending, just easy. And Berkeley Heights residents wouldn't even notice a change in services. Thank you for your time.
Just so you know, the mayor does appoint people to the board, not the council. We have nothing to do with the appointment of the library board.
Okay.
Well, you send you the volunteer list.
That? Vitally said, yes, but she did the appointment.
No, I know. I just didn't want people to misunderstand.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. So given the advise and consent, you do have a role in appointing people, right? So I'm asking you all to advise and consent for people who are going to push hard for this transparency, accountability, and reasonable spending.
Would you want to be on the board? Would you have an interest in that?
I mean, I will put in my application and I hope that you all would consider it seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Saibhar Vayakiri. Before I read my statement, I have 2 clarifications. I emailed all of you. I forgot you, Liza. I'm going to forward that. The executive order that was signed and approved with the salaries in 2025 by the mayor. So, and I did put in my question that can she approve or authorize her own salary via an executive order? So if you can give me an answer now, or can a mayor do that?
I'm sorry, were you going to say something? That's going to speak with the mayor.
I'm not sure.
So it's, so there is an.
It doesn't matter.
So my question is, the mayor signed and authorized the salaries, the annual salaries.
For employees?
No, for herself, the executive order that I emailed all of you.
We voted on that, though. Council voted on it.
Executive order.
Yeah.
The reason you're not getting a straight answer
Mhm.
is because I remember we voted on that. I want to say it's part of the salary or it's not.
It was part of the salary.
Yeah.
So executive order.
Yeah, no,
Executive order is
for a second, I think they're confusing two different things. We had an ordinance change, the salary ordinance, which gets voted. That's what you're talking about. Salary ordinances are done and salaries don't change unless they comply with the salary ordinance. Salary ordinances get updated on a regular basis. They set the ranges and amounts. In this form of government, the salary changes are done by the mayor. She has that authority and they're done by executive order. So what you're talking about here is an executive order that you sent where it actually affected the change. And that's right. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. So your question, and John wants to respond, is because she has that authority. There was an executive order once the ordinance was done to set the salary and change it for the governing body, including the mayor. So Scott, do you want to respond to that? Because it's her authority and I understand what your question is, but that's her authority and that's the way this form of government works. No one else has the authority to change a salary. The governing body doesn't.
So I copied you on the email, if you can give me the response.
I think you copied me. I
Yeah.
did not see that.
I just sent it.
Did you send it to this afternoon?
No, right now, because they said they were. No, because everybody,
so I haven't seen it.
No, because some of the council members were like, we are not aware of it, we have not done it, so I basically downloaded it and I sent it, so when you have chance, you can reply.
But did I not answer your question now? I think I did, right? No, I don't mean that to sound snippy. I think I answered your question. There's a difference between the ordinance. I believe I answered that question.
The ordinance.
So my question is, I understand the whole thing about approving the increases via ordinance. I'm not questioning that. The email and the executive order is a one-page executive order.
Because
But I
they
answered that. That's her.
Then the ordinance sets the maximum amount or the range or whatever it is. And then the mayor's authority is to apply and
So she's allowed to do it.
to people.
Okay.
So yes, she's allowed to do it. And not allowed to do it.
She's the only one that it has that authority. They don't have the authority to set it for her.
Okay.
We have the authority to pass the ordinance, the salary ordinance.
Now, my other comment regarding Sherman Avenue being the same width as other streets, it's 45 feet. The 45 feet is a residential street. And under no definition is Sherman Avenue a residential street. I know that there are some condos when you go down further. And the biggest concern here is it could be a traffic calming measure. It could be like we'll have to wait for it to be completed. The impact is on senior drivers or younger drivers. And it's the shortest stretch in the downtown connecting to the busiest part of the road. So it's only for those 150, like whatever the width length of that area, because once you cross that and go towards Clementes or whatever, the width widens. So, and also, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but on Plainfield Avenue, where we usually put the nativity scene right after the tracks, the walkway has been widened. So if you are not used to it and you're trying to make a turn, that is the walkway is actually, the sidewalk is jutting towards the road. So I don't know if that was part of the traffic.
It's in line with the continuation of the curbing. And fortunately, we have Springfield Ave that people can drive on if they don't want to drive on.
So
And that's the goal, really, is to get people off the drive.
That's the whole point,
And-
eventually, yeah.
And it's a cut through, and it was something I did every day going to school, and I stopped once they took down the sign or the.
And I have some comments in regards to some of the answers we got for previous questions. So luxury developments are not required by the state. That is not true. So the questions on comparisons to developments against AI data center is an accurate ask. Did the state require the ordinance that the council gave Connell earlier year to be approved? I don't think the state did that. It's the ordinance on Connell density plan it's the Connell density plan that was approved. So
Would like to send that to us.
I will send it, yeah.
Because you're providing like detailed information that it's hard.
I will send you the questions, but all I'm saying is I got some responses that we are mandated by the state. The state mandates affordable housing. The state doesn't mandate the local elected representatives to authorize pretty much every other development in the town to be a luxury development. And basically the Cornell density plan that you guys approved, the state is not requiring you. It's not mandated by law. I will send you that. Yeah, you recently approved it. Then regarding the question to pilot, that is it true that the documentation that we see for the terrace development is pretty clear that that is where this particular development is headed. So the questions being asked on whether the school district will be, involved is an accurate ask.
Personally, I'm going to say the same thing that I said to Natasha.
Yeah.
You are a member of the Board of Education, and I understand that you're also a tax-paying member of the public. But I, as a council member, am very uncomfortable addressing questions from you as a member of the Board of Education about something that is relating to the Board of Education. So if the Board of Education wants to have a conversation with council, the Board of Education officially should have a conversation with council.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Your secretary, somebody already sent us an email stating exactly what you're talking about up there. Exactly what that particular incident about this supposed pilot program at the Terrace 2.
So respectfully,
So whatever you're asking, it's already out there.
Members of the public have brought up pilot monies in advance going to the Board of Education.
So let me rephrase my question, and I'm sorry if you got uncomfortable, but this is the most, and we will show up like either with us being on the board or not being on the board. As of now, you guys are aware of the impact of all this. I was in this room or in the old town hall when the first affordable housing, developments were being approved. We had the then Board of Ed president come here and vouch and say there will be no impact to schools. That's all on the record. So right now we are seeing an impact of 1 million or more. So if it's not terrace, if it's something else, does the council ever intend to give?
That is not
It's not
I've said my piece.
that's not appropriate for this forum right here. That's because you're a member of the Board of Education and you're coming to us asking us, and we're gonna give the Board of Education money for a pilot program that doesn't even exist yet, okay?
You're collecting taxes from all the developments that are sending kids to the school, are you not?
But you're a member of the Board of Education. You're coming here asking us if we're gonna give the Board of
Show me,
Education money.
Mr. Foster, respectfully, no, if it's inappropriate, you have an attorney here. Okay, next time you say you're uncomfortable, you're inappropriate, it's an inappropriate question for somebody who's on the board. I do not have any special privileges if I do not have a quorum. I'm here alone as a taxpayer and as a.
But you have information from the Board of Education, sitting on the Board of Education.
No, let me finish my question.
Specific information.
This is information that is publicly available, Mr. Foster. Let me ask you.
Calm down. No, don't tell me to calm down.
Okay, that's
What
fine.
I'm trying to explain to you is this.
No, explain, let me finish my question. No. Okay, let me ask you this. I'm gonna be here at the next council meeting. I want to know the law. You have an attorney here. Give me a law that prevents me from asking this question.
School board code of ethics.
Yes, I have read that. And which code of ethic am I violating? Go to the SEC, file it, and show me if you can get it. I will not ask this question. I know the school board of ethics because I have lived through it. I know the impact of it on me. I'm asking a simple question. We were told that none of these pilot programs are going to have an impact on the schools. There have been formal letters sent. I'm not asking about anything that is private information. The messaging on the terrace development is clear on where it is headed. It is publicly available information. If we are asking you a simple question, it's not okay to shut it down by saying it's inappropriate. Show me the law which says I cannot ask.
A request for a pilot, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. We're not going to talk about things that might possibly occur in the future.
Then the justification for a new deputy police chief respectfully sounds like it has come down to basically the police chief attended a seminar or a conference and it won't be filled for the next 2 years. And we are not seeing any evidence to support this. I think what we would like to see is a financial analysis and why the police force has to be changed 2 years from now, but the current council in 2026, like you guys have to approve it. There is no business rationale or facts or financial information, operational analysis from the police chief respectfully, or from you guys to say, we need to change our organizational structure. And I've looked around to the towns of similar size.
I can probably speak for him, but he would tell you there is no budget for that deputy chief.
There is no-
So you don't have a financial analysis.
So
There's
then-
no money involved.
I understand. So then why are you approving 2 years in advance?
Because we're being proactive, not reactive.
So the salary would have to be negotiated in a contract negotiation between the township. So it's impossible for me to do a financial impact statement or us to do it if we don't know what the salary would be. That would ultimately have to be negotiated with the police union. And towns similar to us do have it. New Providence just brought it back. It's effective August 11th. They just brought back a deputy chief position. When I first started here 16 years ago, someone had deputy chiefs, New Providence had deputy chiefs. It was common, and it seems to be moving back in that direction. So we're just trying to prepare here because I've never seen anybody prepare in the 16 years I've been here.
So is there,
I'm dealing with the same amount of officers for over 30 years, and the town has changed significantly. It is not great for our residents or my officers if we do not prepare.
Mr. Mayor, respectfully, I've not been here for 30 years. I've been in this town for 14 years, and I know for a fact that we have added more officers. So I don't think it's accurate to say that you're operating with the same number of officers from 1990s.
I contacted my predecessors to try to determine the best number I could get of officers, and we're currently at 28, and I was advised that in the late 1990s, we had 28 officers.
You can just look at your.
In the 16 years we've been here, I have seen an additional one, but I was told that was the same number in the late 90s.
No, instead of saying it was told, just go, there is approved or like, if any positions have been created or approved, those are all in the township data.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking. And I feel like being proactive than being reactive is a great statement to say. But I think we elect you as you guys all have a fiduciary responsibility handling public taxpayer dollars. If you do not have supporting information, you cannot just get by saying, I'm being proactive. Where is the operational analysis or the data that supports the need to increase? Yes, Mia, I respect your opinion, but there has to be some proof. There has to be at least 2 pages to say, hey, the population has increased, the traffic has increased, or the crime rate has increased, and this is where I need my people. Or because me as a chief, I will not be able to perform the duties because of the new demands of X, Y, and Z. And because of that, I do need a deputy chief. There is nothing. There is no business rationale. I'm sorry.
We will have that conversation when I.
Position. You're creating a shell position that you're not going to employ for 2 years. It almost feels like, okay, before the mayor leaves, let's get it in.
Is that what it seems like?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sorry. Yeah. That's how it seems like. Because we have seen the history, respectfully, Mr. Machado, if you're not going to hire this position in 2026 or 2027, why would you be creating this position?
You started this by saying, it's great that we're being proactive. You actually said that. So
But where is the
just stay with that.
Yeah, where is the
Just stay with that.
No,
It's great that we're being proactive.
But where is the supporting information for that? You don't have anything. You don't have a piece.
Request funding from council. I will have to justify this position to them.
And that's the other piece. So he has to come before council in a new budget cycle and justify why he needs it, because otherwise he doesn't get the funding.
Okay. And then Liza accusing questions on the intentions of those with concerns about recreation evaluation. I feel that these concerns are ungrounded. Like, you saying there is misinformation, don't spread it out. People are coming based on what they have seen and endured. So just saying that publicly doesn't seem right. Yeah.
The beginning, but
I said you questioning the intentions of people with concerns about the recreation evaluation doesn't seem okay.
no, there was no question actually about the recreation evaluation.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Chesky, 40 Route Place. You said that there was not going to be, that there's no pilot in place. Well, the Kelchi markets say there's 90% of a chance of a pilot there.
What?
Betting platforms?
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said.
It's a betting platform. Don't put your money in it, Tom.
That it's on.
No, I gotta go.
Don't bet the house on that one.
Yeah, this is a question about the police. The police, there's something where the police have to have a certain number of police per residence, right? I'm just trying to remember that.
Yeah, there's always been FBI statistics on what the ratio should be for police.
Is it by statute that you're mandated to have a certain number of police per inhabitant?
I'm not aware of any statute. There are recommendations, but
Okay, I thought there was something in a statute, I just maybe it was, okay. I'm in favor of the position, I just want to say that, but, and I think the way this town's been changing with the, a lot of the apartments coming into town, we do want to keep our police force as strong as possible. You know, a lot of the crime, I would say a majority of the crime probably comes out of people, who live in apartments and such as that, so I'd like to make sure that we keep Berkeley Heights safe.
That a fact?
Pretty sure. I could look it up. Pretty sure. Yeah. My not. Want to fact check me? Could fact check me.
Fact check that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
But really what I came up here to say was that, about the library. I heard this gentleman here speak about the library the last meeting, and I found it pretty interesting. So I went and I did some more fact checking. And the library seems to be fairly ridiculous, where if you take the gross budget and you divide it by the number of visits to the library, it comes out to about $40 for every visit of somebody who goes to visit the library. That's what it breaks down to, and about $20 for every book that's checked out of there. They have about $1 million in the capital reserve. And I looked I have their capital plan, and in the capital plan, they're planning a bookmobile and a redesign of offices. So the bookmobile is about $200,000. The redesign of offices, I think, was $300,000. And these offices here are fairly new. What's this building, 5 years old, 6 years old, something like that? A redesign of a 5-year-old office for $300,000 seems ridiculous. And I also agree, or making the point that the library is not the rec department. Library serves its own purpose. The rec serves its purpose. The library does not serve rec's purpose. So a lot of the things like, oh, well, this is a great place for where seniors can go, et cetera, but it's not a rec department. Anyway, that's it. Thank you. First time.
Okay, Jean Kingsley, 9 Deer Path. Good evening, council. Sorry to be having to be up here so late. During my 12 years on the governing body, I learned that every vote ultimately is a vote of trust. That trust carries with it a responsibility, the responsibility to make decisions based on objective data, thoughtful analysis, robust discussion amongst the council, and meaningful dialogue with the public before action is taken. Every department believes its needs are important. Every project competes for limited resources, but every dollar you spend belongs to the taxpayer. So over the 12 years, I came to believe that every significant decision should be guided by 3 simple questions. Is it necessary? Is it affordable? And have we demonstrated that we are responsibly managing the commitments we've already made? Tonight, I'd like to briefly discuss 2 issues that, while seem very different, are connected by one principle, and that is stewardship. First, the proposed police department staffing ordinance. Let me begin by saying that I have tremendous respect for the men and women of the Berkeley Heights Police Department. This is not a criticism of our officers. It is a discussion about the council's responsibility to exercise fiscal oversight on behalf of the taxpayers. This ordinance proposes a significant expansion of the police department by adding a new deputy chief, a 3rd lieutenant, and 4 additional parole officers. During my 12 years on this council, requests for additional police staffing were carefully scrutinized. They came almost every single year and with every new chief. So we asked for objective data. We looked at call volume, workload, response times, population trends, operational efficiencies, technology, and long-term costs before deciding whether additional staffing was justified. These were not anti-police questions. These were responsible governing questions. I respectfully ask that this council apply the same level of analysis today. If this ordinance is before you tonight, I assume that work has already been done by you. I assume that there's been an analysis of staffing needs, organizational structure, call volume, response times, the long-term financial impact, and possible alternatives. I'm simply asking you to share the analysis with us, the residents of Berkeley Heights. So walk us through your process. Show us how the objective data supports the recommendation. Then allow the public to understand the basis for this proposal before you have a vote. If the data supports the recommendations, the public deserves to see it. If additional staffing is really necessary, then the investment can be understood and evaluated by the people who will ultimately be paying for it. Because once these positions are authorized by you, the council has expanded the organizational structure of the department. Future administrations can fill those positions as funding becomes available. That is why the council's greatest opportunity and responsibility to exercise fiscal oversight exists before the positions are created, not afterwards. The same principle of stewardship brings me to my second point. As someone who voted to authorize construction of the municipal building, I feel an obligation to ask about its status. We asked the taxpayers of Berkeley Heights to invest millions of dollars in this building with the expectation that it would serve our community for generations. Nearly 6 years after moving into the building under a temporary certificate of occupancy, I believe those same taxpayers deserve a comprehensive public update. Where does the project stand? Has a final certificate of occupancy been issued? What is the status of the township's efforts to resolve the outstanding construction deficiencies with the builder? And what is the anticipated timeline for completion? Residents continue to report roof leaks, odor issues in the lower level, flooring problems, damaged finishes, and other deficiencies. The township's electronic sign has never functioned properly, and the monument sign itself appears to have unresolved safety concerns. I recognize that construction disputes can be complicated. What concerns me is not that the problems exist. What concerns me is that 6 years later, the public has received very little information about one of the largest capital investments in our town's history. Over the past several months, this governing body has devoted considerable time and attention to restructuring the Recreation Commission and creating new administrative responsibilities. Whether residents agree or disagree with those decisions is not my point tonight. My point is that the same commitment to analysis, transparency, and accountability should be applied to ensuring that one of our largest taxpayer-funded investments is finally completed and that the residents understand where things stand. Before expanding government, let's first demonstrate that we are effectively managing what we already have. I respectfully request that the council schedule a public conference session with the administrator, township engineer, township attorney, and any other professionals to provide the residents with a comprehensive update on this municipal building, including the status of the certificate of occupancy, outstanding construction issues, the township's efforts to resolve them, and the anticipated timeline for completion. So I'm going to close where I began. Every vote this council takes is ultimately a vote of trust. The taxpayers trust you to ask the difficult questions before spending their money. They trust you to explain not only what decisions you make, but why you make them. They trust you to complete the commitments you've already made before taking on new ones. Government earns the public's trust not by how much it promises, but by how it faithfully fulfills the promises it has already made. So I respectfully ask this council to continue earning that trust through thoughtful analysis, transparency, accountability, and proper stewardship. Thank you.
Jerry Barter, 550 Plainfield Avenue. I'm looking at these resolutions, and I read here where it's gonna be one vote, whether to pass them or not. But they all look like water over the dam. But because of the Oz development, which is 258. But as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at a lot of these others are like water over the dam. What happens if you don't approve these? For instance, Oz Construction. 2 of the 4 houses have roofs on them. And we're just now approving it? I'm missing the process.
Sure. So the process is resolutions are typically added to what's called the consent agenda, which is just a procedural method of allowing the council just to vote once rather than having to vote individually in all the resolutions one by one. The council can, if they so choose, can pull a resolution off of the consent agenda if they want to deliberate on it separately, if they want to vote on it separately. But anything else that remains on the consent agenda will then be heard or be voted on altogether. It's just a way of avoiding having the council to have to vote 50.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's like you're voting on something that you can't change.
They can change it. They can always amend any resolution.
I mean, if you don't approve, is he gonna tear those two houses down?
Yeah, which number are you talking about?
Right, so this is the so
I mean, not only that, I see a car, here, a car was purchased or something, and
That was the budget.
so we got a bill for 1,919,000, so this is money already spent, right?
that's the bill
That's
list.
the bill list.
On the bill list.
Those are the bills the township pays.
So, I mean, you said if anyone objects to anything on there, they can pull it out.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not objecting, I'm just,
I mean, there is a process, right? So that's what Scott was saying, is there is a process where if somebody objects to something on the consent agenda, we can pull it out. Typically, those discussions also, like if council has a question on something the week before, when Angela sends the agenda out, we can also answer questions then. So then that's typically why by the time, they get here, they can still ask some questions, but everybody knows what the issues are on the agenda.
Process for the resolutions and the voting is this way, whether it's voted in one vote or multiple votes. So the idea of the consent agenda just avoids the town having to do,
all the votes.
15 separate roll calls.
But
That process is the same. Your bill list resolution always has to be voted on. That's the bill list that we put on the website. It's all of the bills that are that the town wishes to pay. They cannot pay them until the governing body approves it through resolution.
Okay,
The purchase of the vehicle, if we want to talk about. it-
no,
Okay.
I'm just
So you
saying,
want-
it looks like these are said and done. And
No.
like this, you can't really disapprove Oz development.
Correct. Can you explain that?
Yeah.
So this was a unique situation where every developer's agreement the town has had in the past 12 years that our engineer has been here, it's been either a redevelopment agreement, which the council also takes part in developing, or in the case of Connell, that's not going to be redevelopment, that'll be straight redevelopment. But apparently this is the first subdivision that has had multiple houses in it, 4 houses that sort of met the threshold, am I saying this right, for a developers agreement. The Board of Adjustment, the developers agreement encapsulates everything that the Board of Adjustment required them to do in it, and you can take it from here,
Yeah.
I don't want to misspeak.
Sure. So the township code requires developers agreements in either for subdivisions or I believe it's for major site plan approvals. And it lists all the things that are required to be in there. The developers agreements are really a tool to protect the township to make sure that the developer actually complies with all the things they've promised to do. If, for the most part, developers if they had a choice, they would choose not to sign developers agreement because they know that it's really for our benefit and our benefit alone. So the code requires us to do it, which is standard and I would say best practices, and certainly standard among all the towns that I do work in. So it's required in the sense of they've received their approvals. Here's what's the minimum of what's required to be in here, and then then it goes up to the council to approve. But I'll call it's an approval in air quotes because they've already essentially been approved. We're just formalizing the legal mechanism needed to protect ourselves.
Okay,
In addition, because I asked our engineer about this, meanwhile, our construction official, our inspectors, the engineer, they all have to hold that developer accountable to what the Board of Adjustment, or if it was the planning board, what they say in their resolutions of approval. So,
so basically, this has been approved.
the
by
Board of
attorneys
Adjustment.
For both sides,
Correct.
and now we're voting on,
Right.
okay.
Ideally, yes, these should be going before permits are pulled. This was a very unique situation we haven't encountered in 12 to 15 years. Where the Board of Adjustment required it and
It was a contentious.
we didn't, right.
Okay.
So this resolution is late because of that unusual process. So you could think about it as it kind of fell through the cracks. What?
And it was supposed to be on the agenda actually last meeting.
it was pulled.
But we were waiting for, I think, the Board of Adjustment attorney or somebody's attorney to.
Yeah, the applicant's attorney. It was the applicant's attorney. We did look at it. That's what you were in. Yeah.
He was busy with the fireworks.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have.
Yes.
Like I said before, 5 years ago, when they did the traffic study on that, so the Wizards had property.
Well, speaking of that, now I have the chief's attention here. The traffic study was done. Actually, our town did a little bit of it. You had Trent Fetta sitting in the one of the houses there. But it only took about 10 minutes before Waze showed where he was sitting, so nobody was doing bad things. But what happens at that light is northbound on Plainfield, crossing over mountain. It becomes a race situation. You have two lanes merging. I wrote to the county, I wrote to the person, I forget what the title is here in the town, and there seems to be a dilemma because two county roads are crossing, but the traffic light belongs to the town. So both sides say it's theirs.
I've had communications with the county about that intersection, and we're getting them to look at that.
Okay.
Specifically now, since it was just paved, they actually brought it back to light again. So we are having conversations with the county about what the best way is to proceed with that intersection as far as the right and left turn lanes.
Okay, my intersection is one lane turns left, one lane goes straight.
Yes.
And you already have the right turn lane pulled off.
That's what we're suggesting.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
He did a traffic study, but so did the Oz did a traffic study. It was about 40 pages long. So.
Yeah, I went to those meetings. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my water bottle. I have two quick things. You know, I'm Jean Kingsley, 9 Deer Path. Earlier tonight, there was a comment made that they couldn't create the director and rec position because it wasn't in an ordinance. That is not correct. I looked at the salary ordinance. The recreation director position exists in the overall salary ordinance, and it's there. The job description might not be in the rec commission piece of the ordinance, but the job exists. So that is not correct right now. And if you go in the salary,
Because it needs to be in both places. The job description needs to be there.
well, and that's my point number 2. Okay, so that the only.
There's people have been on vacation and
That's
whatnot.
fine, but I'm just saying, so that leads to my other point though, because, you know, Margaret, you made a comment tonight about we are not going to do something, you know, before the need arises. We don't legislate like that. Well, adding 6 jobs in the police department in an ordinance where you have demonstrated the actual need is contradictory to what you said about pilots. And it's contradictory to what you're saying about Carolyn. The one control, you guys' biggest control, your most important job is controlling the ordinances. And as I always say, it's like sitting with your kids, you know, on a budget discussion. Every kid has a lot of wants and needs, and you have to figure out each year which kid is getting which want and which need. And the council is the backstop and they're the bad cop. And you guys have to be the bad cops and the stewards of our taxpayer dollars. And so if over time, the police department needs a new head, let them come in front of the public and come in front of you with the data and the analysis and the cost to support it. But you don't change ordinances because something might be happening.
Yes.
I do. Gene, you were on council for 12 years.
Yes, I was.
How many officers were added during those 12 years?
1. Yes, yes.
One was added,
No.
Angie was the mayor.
I was on the council too, honey.
At the end, yes.
No, it wasn't at the end. It was in my 10th year. I know
This-
exactly when.
this time-
Ask me how many chiefs came and asked me for new heads.
It's not what I asked.
Every
How
single
many were
one.
added during the years? This community needs more officers.
So I'm not saying.
You know,
you don't.
I'm
saying
not going to argue.
Any
If you're-
data to support it. That's all.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm in the public and I haven't seen it and I watch every meeting. So if we're paying the salaries, we should be given the date. If it's supportable, it'll be supported, but it can't be
Nobody's
done.
paying the salaries if they're not funded.
Well, yes, but we all know that once the ordinance it gets opened up, it gets very easy to stuff. So, all right.
Can I clarify something? You mentioned that there's 6 new positions. There's not 6 new positions because you're gonna have 3 replacements for the retirees.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
you're not, no, now you're talking about filling. You're expanding the ordinance and you're going from a 28-person department to a 34-person department by ordinance. That is what that ordinance does. I'm not debating whether you need it or not. I'm just saying I haven't seen any facts or analysis or data to support that massive increase in a department.
And we would expect those facts.
And you would expect them first before you change it. Or I'm not saying it's right or wrong, guys. I'm saying take us there. Give us the details, give us the support, give us your homework. If you've seen it all, bring it forward and have a council session and let us see it. I'm not telling you how to govern. I'm saying, please govern. But you can't do it because you might need something later. That's going to burn us in the future if that's how.
I don't like this building. I mean, needs and wants, Gene, come on.
I agree.
$43 million.
I agree.
That's on your plate.
I own this building. As everybody's
get
saying
it.
it, we all do.
When you say
100%.
needs and wants, I just want to think about that a little bit too.
I have thought about it.
Okay.
I just want you guys to really just make sure you can support what you are proposing because it's a big change.
Jean, one more question. You mentioned that the title of director was always there.
It's in the salary ordinance. So you have an ordinance, a salary ordinance that lists all the approved positions and what their salary ranges are.
Right, so how long has that been?
It's been in there forever, as far as I know.
One place and not the other.
Yeah.
So
Well, it got intentionally taken out of the recreation section of the ordinance when they created the associate recreation director because they didn't want to, that was a new position they added under the director. And so in order to not add a head count, they took one out on one side and they added another.
Do you know the history of why they did that? Do you know the history?
I don't want to,
I'm just asking if you know.
I do, but I don't want to.
Okay, I'm not gonna bring it up. I just want to know if you know.
I think I know, and I think, so.
All right.
the reason why I was asking is only because, I mean, if it's been there forever, why wasn't she promoted while she was,
That's a very good question.
and that was on your part?
No, it's not. I have nothing to do with the rec commission.
Oh, no.
It's not on my watch.
The rec commission has to do it.
I'm just.
What?
By statute, that's the rec commission that would have to promote her.
Well, the rec commission has tried to promote her, and
Well-
it's been sitting with the mayor, not going through.
That's.
So, and I'm not on the commission, so I'm,
That's
again,
a month.
yeah. So, and I don't want to keep this meeting going any longer than it has to go. So thank you.
Thomas Fortiger, there was some discussion about a number of policemen. Chief mentioned the FBI, yes, they do a rule. I don't know if they certainly don't enforce it, but their rule is one policeman for every 500 population.
500, you said?
One policeman for every 500 people. So if you're going up, I don't know, you said you're going up 5, is that right?
What year is that from?
Nobody's going up any,
We're not going up any.
The proposal is,
Bring anybody.
I thought the proposal is to add 5.
Right.
How many, okay, if it's not 5, how many is it? How many is it? 6. So that means you're expecting basically something like 3,000 additional people. I don't know where they're coming from, but what?
I'm curious what year that study was from the FBI. What year was that?
I didn't say it was a study. I said they have a rule, 1 per 500, okay?
Okay. I was in law enforcement for 20 years. I've never heard that. Never heard anything about that.
You never heard it?
Never heard. I'm gonna look that one up because I'm interested
Well,
about it.
there is a report that comes out each year on, and it shows, I think it comes from the state, and it shows how many policemen and population for all the towns in New Jersey. You can get.
Interesting. Thank you. I
You
didn't
see
know
that?
that.
You
I'm
see
just
that?
curious if
Okay.
it was a year for that.
Yeah, there,
One comment, Chief and I were talking today, and
Yeah.
it's not just about the residents. We have
Yeah.
a lot of people that come into our town every single day.
yeah,
And he was saying a statistic about how he actually deals more with people coming into our town than the people that are
Yeah.
living here.
I mean, there might be, other things, but as Gene says, you got to do your analysis here, right? You don't just say, oh, let's get some more people.
We're not getting more people. I don't think anyone's really listening to that part of it. We're not getting more people.
All right.
If the chief wants
Yeah.
a deputy
But I thought you're adding, you're authorizing,
but we're not adding anybody. He would have to come before council, justify his ask.
I know,
It has to be approved by council.
yeah,
So no one's hiring anybody. It's a vision
Okay.
plan
all
that
right.
he has.
Okay, the other thing is there were some comments about the library. Yes, that place is actually quite overfunded. I don't know why I know the formula, it went up $400,000. That's amazing. No,
We encourage
Yeah.
anybody that's concerned about this
Yeah.
to
Go to a library room, right?
communicate with your state
No, I'm telling you.
representatives.
Yes.
Because that funding formula
Yes.
is not our control.
I know, I'm not saying it is.
Right, so.
Did I say it was your control?
Assembly.
I know the formula and I know that, yes, so you'd have to change it. They must have a very good lobby because it's been there for a long time. We're the only state in the union, by the way, that has such a formula, all right? The only state of the union that has mandatory funding like that.
Welcome to New Jersey.
They are grossly overfunded because of this formula. Now, there is a provision, as one of the gentlemen, I forget his name, mentioned, and I have looked into this one year, and there's a provision where some of the money has to come back if there's so much money, right? If they're 20% or something like that. But they can try to get around that. What's the way they can get around it? No, they can inflate their budget with a lot of unnecessary people. They're doing some of that. The other thing you can do is you can inflate your capital needs and stuff the money into your capital reserve.
You should go to a library board meeting.
Why?
You really should. You
Why?
should sit down. I think
And
that.
that would be a waste of my time. It would be a pure waste of my time.
Me, go to talk to the board.
Well, you are my representative.
On the board, that's true.
Okay.
So you know what? Send me an
So you-
email. I will.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you what's going on, right? Now you can exert your.
Can you put it in an email though? Will you send me an email, please?
I
And
might,
I'll bring it to you.
if I have time.
You're not on email?
I might do, okay, anyway.
Mm.
But you can stuff money in cap reserve, and some of the baloney projects were mentioned, like a bookmobile, okay, and then redesigning offices, all this kind of wasted money on cap reserve. That's just a way to avoid giving money back to the town, right? And let's see. I think to authorize more police positions at this time without any study or any analysis is not right. So I ask you not to do that. Thank you.
Send me that email.
David Sankel, 75 Grandview Ave.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I just want to state that with regard to adding new positions, I work in a company. I know what it's like to ask for head count and stuff like that. Nobody gives blanket head count unless you're like Meta or something like that, and things are going really well. Probably NVIDIA right now is, you can get head count for anything. But I do think that it would be prudent for this council to, take the request and say, great, now let's collect some more information. And then the worst that happens is you get more buy-in from all the people here by having looked at, the analysis that I'm sure the chief has done and made that public and maybe asked for us a little bit more information. I think it'd be prudent. So I would also suggest as a taxpayer here that you will ask for some more information. We can present this information before moving forward with that headcount increase. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. Woody, are you behind me? Get up there.
Thank you. Good evening. Robert Woodruff, 56 Forest. John, with respect to Tom's comment on the 1 in 500, I was also familiar with that. I've been involved in some litigation where that number came up. It's an FBI guideline. All right, it's not a standard. It's an FBI guideline. And I recall the first time I heard it, I did I simply took New York City's, multiplied it accordingly, and I came very close to what New York City had. I think they had 40,000 at the time, but nevertheless. I listened to the chief and obviously Gene. The chief is correct in that he should have an in future look as to where he's going with this department. I agree 100% with that. I think everybody here does. It would be foolish not to do that. Right? And I know that the Chiefs Association is a strong proponent of that. I also listened to Gene, and given my own experience as an elected official, I think you need to act cautiously here. Anecdotally, about 10 years ago, maybe less, the current chief, that chief at that time came to me and indicated he wanted additional staff. And I said, why? All right, it's not a difficult question. And I said, why? But I understood. And believe me, I do enough work with police departments to understand there isn't a chief that doesn't want more people. Okay, it's just the way it is. All right, and that doesn't mean that when in fact they have that need, it shouldn't be addressed. But about 10 years ago, I asked the chief at that time, tell me why. Well, this is going to happen, or that may happen. Well, I said, okay, then when this happens or that may happen, and it does happen, we'll talk about it. Well, in the last 10 years, I don't know whether any of the chiefs have come back. Because if there was a pending need at that time, then it certainly would have come around 2 or 3 years later. Maybe it didn't, I don't know. All right, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that when Jean spoke about what I best describe as a deliberative process, all right, she was not, and I saw that chief got it, he's defending his department, he's defending what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that, that's great, okay? But we can balance this, all right? Now, if the chief comes up before you in 3 years from now or 2 years from now and asks for an ordinance, what's the difference? Whether you give an ordinance now that he can step, or you do it at the time. And if you do it at the time, I think there's going to be a greater urgency for you to ask these individuals, okay, why? Tell me why. I don't want to get into it now, but if you're talking about overtime, well, we need more officers, so we have more overtime. Well, what's your history of overtime? What's the history for the last 5 years of overtime? Okay, calls. Well, we got to increase calls. What kind of calls? I mean, what type of calls? How many? I mean, you're going to want to see a 2 or 3 or a 4-year, 5-year term. That's what you're going to ask for. So why not wait? The chief can maintain where he wants to go. He has a vision. He believes that things are going to occur. He may be 100% right. Okay, and I think Gene was trying to say the same thing. We're not here to say no. That's your job, to say yes or no. Okay, to get the facts. I just think it behooves you to act prudently and let this thing unfold. We were told 6, 7, 8 years ago, when this affordable housing thing was hitting its peak, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And it was mayhem. Everybody predicted all this stuff was going to occur. These towns are going to fall apart. Well, we all have our own opinions about affordable housing, okay? And you're going to go, I guess you're going through that again soon. You can't keep track of this stuff. But I think that all of this will take care of itself in due time. So I'd ask you to give some serious thought. All right. You're going to get the same result. You're going to get it. All right. But you're going to get it in a more prudent, more reasoned manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Just did the math on our population with regard to the 500 number, and that's at 27 with our current population, which was the 2020 census. I'm not sure what our actual population is.
I don't want to break the flow. Anyone else for the police situation or speak to speak?
Exactly.
Okay. Hi, Ed Galatelli, 13 Riceman Road. Just understanding a few things here. 35-year resident, tax-paying resident, 15-year recreation commissioner whose term expired in 2024 when I stepped down. Am I passionate about recreation? You bet I am. I'm helping as a volunteer with our pickleball and tennis courts at the Tom Barton Courts. Am I still connected to recreation situations? What do you think? Let me clarify something. Do I think the town council, any of you sitting here, had anything to do with the county audits, the state audits coming onto play? I do not. I just want to clarify that. I do not, okay?
Appreciate that.
Do I think someone anonymously with well-rooted connections, some persons, coincidentally, Joe, trying to harass recreation, take down Carolyn, take down Recreation Commission. Coincidentally, I think it's happening. You as a town council need to stand by Carolyn, Berkeley Heights Recreation, the Recreation Commission, and support all things Berkeley Heights Recreation. We need to get the mayor to appoint the 3 rec commission applicants that are in place for 7 or 8 months. I'm asking all of you tonight, please hold Mayor Devaney accountable to doing this so that the next Recreation Commission meeting on Tuesday, July 22nd, can act as a full commission with 7 members. Thank you.
That can't be the right date though, Ed.
It
Today
is
the 21st.
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 22nd, you said.
Tuesday, the 28th.
Oh, I thought you said the
I'm
22nd.
sorry if I did. Tuesday, the 28th is the next Recreation Commission meeting.
And that's gonna be here,
Excuse me,
town
Jim?
hall, where it usually is.
I'm assuming it is, so,
So a week from today.
yes, okay? Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one, I move to close the citizens hearing.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Who seconded? I'm sorry. I didn't hear. Oh, whatever. Sorry.
Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Mrs. Illis,
Yes.
Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mrs. Polk.
Yes.
Okay, so before Bill moves the consent agenda, I would like to make a motion to remove resolution 256 from the consent agenda.
I second.
Yeah, we have discussion?
It's because there needs to be a modification to it, so we have to vote on it separately after we make the modification.
Oh, so
Just in case anybody didn't know that.
we're gonna make a modification tonight.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Illis,
Yes.
Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos,
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mrs. Polk.
Yes.
Okay, so now I would like to make a motion to modify resolution 256 to change. Okay, wait, I have it right here. The cert for Connolly is G-02-20-20-2 175-2027, not 021, NJ Historic Grant 2024, parentheses, 2026, close parentheses.
We have a motion and a second. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion on that
Modification.
modification as it stands, as we sit on that, as Angela runs out of ink? Okay, seeing no discussion, roll call, please.
We're voting to adopt this resolution as amended. Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Mrs. Illis,
Yes.
Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mr. Maderos.
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mrs. Polk.
Yes.
All right, so I move to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolutions 2026-244 through 2026-258. These resolutions will be approved by one motion.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have a question.
Exclude the one that we just pulled out.
Yeah, just,
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Angela says.
we normally do, but
Right, so with regard to 258, yes, 258, that's the Westminster Oz property. So I found out why we're getting the developers agreement now. I'm curious if modification of the hours for the restriction and turning, have you guys thought about that?
Yeah, I think that was done before I was the chief. Let me pull up what records our
Right,
traffic division
yeah.
has on what exactly they looked at and what exactly was done.
Right, and I know there was a traffic study done, it was prior to COVID, I guess, because this has been ongoing for a long time. But there was no second traffic study done, correct? Oh, I have one more question, sorry. I was reading the developers agreement, I'm sorry.
I heard the pause.
It said the applicant stipulated to constructing the sidewalk unless there's a legitimate engineering issue that makes it impossible. Has Tom expressed that there might be some kind of issue where the sidewalk would not be able to be constructed? Not that you're aware of. Okay, we're just gonna monitor that.
There's a slope there. So
Mm. I was wondering about tree roots and things like that. I was a little concerned about. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I know. All right, those are my couple questions on that.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Machado.
Yes.
Mr. Maderos.
Yes.
Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mrs. Polk.
I say publicly, as much as I do not like this project, I have to follow what's being done by the law, so I have to vote yes. Yeah.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance number 2026-18?
Bond ordinance providing for various sewer improvements in and by the Township of Berkeley Heights in the County of Union, New Jersey, appropriating $2,505,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,399,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
I move that the ordinance as read by the clerk be offered on first reading, that August 11th, 2026 be set as the date for public hearing, and that the clerk be directed to advertise in said ordinance according to law.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Illis.
Yes.
Mr. Machado.
Yes.
Mr. Maderos.
Yes.
Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mrs. Polk.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, if you read ordinance 2026-19, please.
An ordinance of the Township of Berkeley Heights in Union County, New Jersey, amending the code of the Township of Berkeley Heights to add the position of deputy chief and to authorize 1 additional lieutenant and 4 additional patrol officers in the Berkeley Heights Police Department.
All right, I move that the ordinance as read by the clerk be offered on first reading, and that August 11th, 2026 be set as the day for the public hearing, and that the clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance according to law.
Second.
Discussion?
I'd like to, so as this ordinance includes a number of new positions for the police department, and as the police chief has said, this is a plan for the future to grow the department along with the growing needs of our community. The reality is that our population has increased, as have our daily visitors, through full offices and successful businesses. I assure all residents that I will look at any new request for personnel, regardless of the department, with the same careful scrutiny that I've used in the past. I will balance the needs of the community with any increase in tax burden and look at that very carefully. I thank the members of the Berkeley Heights Police Force for their commitment to our community every day. And, my statement isn't that I do absolutely support the police, but I assure you that, we do take the fiduciary responsibilities of council very seriously.
Thank you, Margaret.
I'd just like to say something also, being in law enforcement for 28 years, I understand exactly where the chief's coming from, because I worked on a department that had little to no upward mobility or hired guys, and we were running short shifts, and it was detrimental to the community, it was detrimental to the businesses, it was detrimental to anything that happened. And the safety of the residents in this town is paramount, and I know the chief knows that. And I can only go by my personal experience that the day that I got promoted to sergeant, there was 13 other promotions on that particular day, because that's what the chief did. He kept guys down and he kept them away from that. So had there been some kind of plan in place, that would have never happened at one fell swoop like that. So Chief, I appreciate your vision, and just going forward, I'd like to, just make that clear, right?
To piggyback on John a little bit, I do appreciate your vision, because I think that sometimes when you live in a town for a really long time, you don't like to see any change. You don't like to admit change is happening, but change is happening all around us. And I think it's really important that we do keep all our residents safe. And again, the data that he gave me, we could make it, I guess, available to the town. If I don't know how many people stayed for his conference session last meeting, because I think we're at midnight. And I do appreciate the former mayor's input. But again, if the needs came before council, we would have to weigh the needs and wants of the township at that point. And I don't see a problem with having a vision plan.
I agree. I think the vision plan is a great idea, something that we ought to have. We only vote on a budget once a year. We adopt a budget once a year. We go through a lot of analysis to get there. And I think we need a plan that in place in order to grow, to approve any growth in that budget that one time a year. And so on the premise of this being a plan, not funded, to be funded during the proper course of the budget adoption, I would vote yes.
No, I just also want to add that it's not just about the residents, but apparently we have a lot of people working here at the Connell Center, as well as some other areas of Berkeley Heights. So there is situations that do occur with these transit people. And that was abundantly made clear to me when I sat down with our chief. So I also agree with this vision. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Illis.
Yes.
Mr. Machado.
Yes.
Mr. Maderos.
Yes.
Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue.
Yes.
Okay. Council reports.
Let's keep them short
I
tonight.
will do my best. I
Okay.
will do my best.
Last time.
There's a couple.
I'll wait for
Exodus.
people to clear the room. Anybody else want to leave before
It's a we should really install a little bathroom break.
should we take a 5? You want to take, no? Okay. Great.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to start off by saying that, I hear everybody in the audience, okay? Like many of you, I care deeply about this community. I don't just serve the public. I live here, I raise my family here, and I'm part of this community too. When residents like you speak, the passion that you do, it's our responsibility to listen. And I understand that. Many opinions differ on proposed ordinances, okay? And the people should understand that you should be listened to, okay? And we need to take that into consideration when we do this. Now, we have more than one conference session. We have more than one, we introduce and then we adopt and we modify. You've seen that. We do it on the fly, okay? Our council has legal authority to introduce ordinances. And like Jean stated when she was up here, good government is more than just following the law. It's been encouraging open discussion. It's giving residents a meaningful opportunity to be heard before any major decisions are moved forward. I just want you to know that we hear you up here, okay? We listen to you, okay? You're not speaking to just a bunch of wood up here, okay? We hear you. And that's pretty much just that's all I wanted to say. October 17th is going to be the Tell Lord Fall Family Festival. It is 12 to 4. October 18th is the rain date. We're going to have history reenactors at the site. So come on down and we have a whole bunch of other stuff planned. I think right now we have a reenactor who's going to be George Washington. So whether he slept there or not, he's actually going to be showing up for the day. So also we had an update, as you can see by the ordinance, by the consent agenda, that we have a update on new bid for construction on the house. And that money is going to be coming out of the trust fund that we have for the latest bid. And right now it's going to be for stabilization of the some of the exterior and some of the interior of the house. And we are trying to get this done before the festival because we want to show people that there's progress. That's all I got. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time out there tonight. I appreciate you coming to the meetings. I appreciate the people online. Okay. And I wish more people would come to the meetings and have more to say about everything that goes on here. Thank you.
My council report is going to be pretty short. It's summer, so there aren't really as many committee meetings and stuff going on. I wanted to give a shout out to all of the first responders who assisted with the Mount Carmel Festival. The festival was fabulous, and EMS, fire, PD was all there with smiles on their faces, helping make it a great event. Mount Carmel Society did a phenomenal job. The fireworks were as stunning as they always are. So that was really my town activity.
Even for the World Cup watch party too.
Yes.
I
So
we did the
I
same
missed
thing.
the World Cup watch parties and I'm hoping somebody else is gonna report on those. So that's it for me.
Good.
Well, actually, I am going to actually say something about the watch party. So, I had the pleasure of spending time over at the FIFA Club World Cup watch parties hosted at the Connell Center. And I have to say how impressed I was with how seamlessly everything came together, from the organization and the atmosphere to excitement shared by families, friends, and the soccer fans of all ages. It was evident that a tremendous amount of planning and teamwork went into creating such a memorable experience for our community. That being said, I also made my way over to the Patria Station Cafe, where the excitement continued. The energy at the restaurant was electric as everyone watched together, cheering, celebrating, and sharing in every dramatic moment of the game. It was another reminder of how our local businesses help bring people together and create a true sense of community. Moments like these are what makes Berkeley Heights such a special place to call home. It wasn't just about soccer, it was about neighbors coming together, meeting new people, supporting our local businesses, and enjoying each other's company. In a world that often feels rushed and divided, it was refreshing to see so many smiling faces gathered together, united by the simple joy of sharing the experience. So a heartfelt thank you to everyone who helped make these watch parties possible, and to everyone who came out to celebrate. Here's to many more opportunities that bring our community together and remind us that some of life's best moments are the ones we share. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. You're up.
Yep, I just want to say the Economic Development had held its last meeting on June 19th. Of the 11 members who said they would be there, only 4 showed up. So the chairman terminated the meeting after 15 minutes and notified the remainder of the EDC that remaining meetings will be mothballed until such a time as a new administration decides otherwise. I was asked to advise when that is, and I think it'll be appropriate for us to discuss on council what the future of that community looks like. Prior to our last meeting, we received an email from a Woodcrest resident. Woodcrest is a development on Locust Avenue, about a 10% renewal rent increase. That was not the only resident who received it. Many others, including my mother, who's a resident there, also received that 10%. The building management recommended requesting a relief from the management company, and everybody was turned down. There is no state limit on rental increase, nor is there one in Berkeley Heights. I've reached out to our assembly members to resurrect a bill that was introduced 2 years ago that would limit rental increases in the state to no more than 5% plus cost of living, or 10%, whichever is lower. I will work on exploring solutions for Berkeley Heights. I note that Woodcrest is a 55, an age-restricted community, 55 or older. So a 10% increase for people who are on a fixed income is pretty rough. They also enjoy the benefit of a pilot agreement with us, which should benefit them financially. And so I would take that into consideration. Also want to say that Karen Kessels finished the layout for the welcome letter. I'm going to share it here with the folks on council. I think you'll agree it's pretty attractive. Liza's gone out to bid with this at the county. I think there's a few more tweaks that it made after that, but hopefully we'll be able to get this off the ground soon.
That sounds great.
And that'll be designed not by ChatGPT, but by real.
So I did years ago reach out to, I think you, as a council member, before I was on council, asking for us to look at protections for renters. And at that point, we didn't have so many renters, so it wasn't an issue.
Now we have.
So I do think that we should do some research and see what's appropriate for us at the municipal level.
Yep.
And what tools do we have in our toolbox, especially for the fixed agent? Because, you know, that's hard.
Yep, I agree. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, I will be very brief. I want to thank all the speakers that came up and shared their thoughts. You know, you are heard. We do listen to you. And I appreciate your input at these meetings. I'd like to thank the first responders, police, fire, EMS, DPW, everyone who took part in the July 4th weekend storm. There were trees down all over the place, power lines down, very hazardous situations. Around the corner from me, tree came down on the house, and fortunately nobody was hurt. But I'd also like to recognize the 911 dispatchers that, during those incidents get absolutely inundated with calls. The phone lines don't stop ringing. And I think it's important to recognize that any 911 center will get overwhelmed. You could have 100 dispatchers in there and they still wouldn't be able to answer each call. Several times during my career, I was working our desk here when a storm like that came through. And every line is lit up. You can't even call for help because you can't get an outside line. So I want to recognize the dispatchers and the residents who heeded Chief May's plea to stay off the roads so first responders could, handle that emergency. It is just so important that they only call 911 if there's a life-threatening emergency. If a tree's down across your front yard, that's important to us, but it's not a life-threatening emergency. Really, those 911 lines have to remain clear. Also, I think I mentioned this, the residents that stayed off the road so first responders could, respond to those emergencies. That's my report. Thank you.
Hi, so I did attend my first library board meeting as the mayor's designee, and I'm trying to get a lot of back information so I can understand my role a little bit better. The next meeting they meet the second Monday of the month. But I'll be on Zoom because I'm on vacation. So I got a grant for Littell Lord, and the initiative that we're doing is going to support a series of engaging history-focused community activities designed to deepen public appreciation for American heritage. There's going to be two-sided coins with the Liberty Bell on one side and Liberty Bell 250 on one side and Littell Lord 266 on the other. So Littell Lord is older than our country, yes.
Go figure.
And the residents will learn that Littell was built 16 years before the Revolution. And actually, I found out that Andrew Littell's son, Ephraim, fought in the war. That got us another grant because I made the revolutionary connection. And the coins will be available at the festival. There'll be a reading of the Declaration of Independence performed by a George Washington impersonator and a live reenactment. The Society of Historians at GL and at our high school will be creating a booklet about with education pieces and photos. The last thing I want to say, on my way home from the Cape yesterday or Monday, what's today, Tuesday, Sunday, I saw a post on social media about a local business, and then people glommed on and made comments. Then you really know the backstory. And I think we're in a really hard time because that's how some people are getting all their information. And it was very disparaging to the local business. So I'm just asking everybody, if you want to make a post, but find out the backstory, find out what's going on. Because one of our local businesses it was really hard. So I supported them today and had a delicious lunch. So don't be a keyboard warrior, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Be kind. Thank you.
That's the floor is yours.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. The storm tree debris cleanup began this week. We're actually almost done. I provided the update about Sherman Ave and Peppertone. The Lower Columbia Field update. So the project is still in the design phase. A presentation was made on April 8th, 2026 to the planning board by Harbor Consultants, who is designing.
Can you speak up a little bit?
You're gonna tell me to slow down. She tells me to slow down.
I was, but I thought.
Sorry. The project is still in the design phase. A presentation was made April 8th, 2026 to the planning board by Harbor Consultants, who's designing the project. There were some questions from the planning board members. Prior to that meeting, the Recreation Commission also raised concerns and questions and had 1 to 2 meetings with Harbor. So we had our township engineer review the plans, and he also reported a number of questions and issues which were communicated to Harbor as well. Some of these questions centered around drainage, area of construction, lighting, and some other aspects. Everyone's schedules are a little crazy this summer, but when we can meet with at least a few members of the council, myself and the Rec Commission, we will set a date and to meet and go over next steps. The professional engineering, surveying, and planning services were originally contracted by the Recreation Commission with Harbor Consultants in fall 2025 for roughly $32,000. That contract was later expanded by the township to include final engineering, design, and construction documents for the bidding of the project. To date, Harbor has been paid for site surveys from September 2025 and March 2026, totaling about $18,000. There are some bills that do still need to be paid. Going forward, the process ideally would work as follows. The detailed design documents would be revised to address the concerns raised by the Planning Board, Recreation Commission, and Township Engineer. Once those are addressed, the documents would be sent to the Board of Education for a courtesy review. Accepted plans then would be put out to bid. The bid would then be awarded according to state statutes, a bid process overseen by the township clerk, CFO, and attorney, like any other bid for a project. Construction management services are contracted to Harbor Consultants as well. That would begin after the winning bidder is authorized to begin work. And the construction would be overseen by the township with updates provided to the Board of Education as the project proceeds. So with that, we will set a date when we can meet with the Rec Commission to go over next steps.
And all
This update, a longer version of that update is also on our website, which is there's been a project page for the Lower Columbia page under infrastructure for a few months now. So it has all those details as well as the funding mechanisms. I had a couple. Springfield Avenue sidewalk and lighting project has begun. They started with electrical work within the last 2 weeks, and when that's finished, they will come to construct the new paper sidewalks. Emerson Road project, I believe we're going out to bid tomorrow, and the bids are coming in August 4th. And also just a message about the storm. Thank you to the residents who worked with us to help us better understand the nature of your remaining outages as the week proceeded. It better enabled us to provide JCP&L with information they needed to try to expedite getting the power back on. Thank you for the communication recommendations as the situation evolved. I'm officially tired of Facebook after that storm, so I'm taking a break from it. I'm always open to ways we can communicate better, but please email me directly. If anyone ever in town has issues, please report an issue on our website. There's an icon right on the front page to report an issue, or email me directly. If you tag me on Facebook, I'm not going to see it for a few weeks. So please use those methods. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right. We are now going to be going into an executive session, so I have to, do I need a motion? No motion, accept the reports. Motion accept, second? Second. We don't get, okay. All right, this time we're gonna be going into executive session. Whereas, should I wait till everybody leaves? No. Whereas the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1 et sec, expressly provide that the public body may move into executive session, exclude the public from that portion of a meeting at which the public body discusses any of the 9 areas set forth in NJSA 10:4-12B, and whereas the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights has determined it necessary to move into executive session to discuss the following subjects, which are included in the aforesaid exceptions. 1, contract negotiation, shared service agreement, Lower Columbia Field, contract negotiation, 600 Mountain Avenue, formerly known as Nokia. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley Heights that it does hereby move into executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B to discuss the aforesaid matters. And it is further resolved that the aforesaid discussion shall be made public either at the public meeting following the executive session, or at such time as any litigated or personnel matters are concluded, or upon conclusion of any negotiations, related discussions, or is otherwise specified. And it is further resolved, this resolution shall take effect pursuant to law. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Machado.
Yes.
Mr. Maderos.
Yes.
Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mrs. Pogue.
Yes.
See you all when we come back.